Hello everyone, welcome to What If Issei Was God's First Child and the First Celestial Angel movie. Before we start, please go support John 354 for writing that awesome fanfic. This is the translated version I made. There will be some mistake in character's gender, but of course Issei is a male. Chapter 1. God was alone and had no one to talk to, so he came up with an idea to create his first son. In one hand he created a large golden sphere, from which a few minutes later a 6-year-old boy with silver hair and blue eyes emerged. He was a little surprised by the heat but did not take it seriously. The boy slowly opened his eyes and the first thing he saw was his father. God only gave him a quality smile that the boy reciprocated. In that the older person of Inca so that the child looks at him better. God, hello son. Hello dad. Giving him a smile and a hug that God reciprocated. God, well son, your name from now on will be Issei. Issei, it's okay dad. At that God stood up and stretched out his hand and they began to walk through the place where there was nothing, everything was white. Issei, dad, what are we going to do? There's nothing here. God, I know son. That's why I brought you here so you can help me think of an idea. But don't worry, that would be later, right now you're very young. Issei, okay. God, in these years that we will be together, I will train you so that you can handle your abilities well since you do not know how to control them well. Issei just nodded. God, okay son, I want you to take out your wings. At that the older person took out his 12 golden wings, surprising Issei with how cute they were. Issei closes his eyes and also tries, but nothing happens. After a few minutes of trying he succeeds, taking out some small golden wings as well. Issei, it took me a while father. But because I only have one pair. God, it's because you don't have enough power yet, with time you will have more. Issei, I understand. God, well with that said I want you to try to fly. Don't overexert yourself. Remember that you are just a child and you have just been born. Issei just nodded and tried to flap his wings but he couldn't. God gave him some ideas to achieve it. After half an hour of fighting he managed to flap them a little. After about half an hour it took its first flight, causing the boy to put on a small smile. Issei, father, I did it. God, I'm glad son. It didn't take as long as I thought it would. Issei began to fly higher and after a few seconds he was flying very high. God just looked at him with a smile. After a few minutes Issei went down again as he was tired. God, I see you had fun. Issei, that's right, but I think I went too far. I don't have that much strength anymore. God, just sit there for a while. You used too much energy. You should know that you just opened your eyes. Issei, yes I know, father, but I got excited flying, it was fun to do it. God, I could tell son. Now that you've learned to fly and have complete control, we'll move on to the next step. Issei, and that would be it. God, to adapt to your abilities. Issei, I'm ready father, I'll do my best to not disappoint you. God, you will never disappoint me, son, you are very dear to me. Issei just gave him a smile and minutes later he stood up and started his little training since the muscles in his body were not fully developed. Years passed and Issei was already 10 years old and had 2 pairs of wings and had already learned a lot from his father. God on the other hand was surprised by his son's growth but was still happy because he took it very well. Issei, and what are we going to do today, father? God, I say the same as always, your skills are still lacking. Issei, I understand, but why do I train so much? God, in the future you will have to protect many people, son. That's why you must be strong. Issei, okay, I'll get stronger so I can protect those people and you father. God just caressed her hair. Issei, okay, let's go. God just nodded and they both walked around the place. Since in that time they had created some things so that it wasn't all white. Upon arriving at a place like a training camp, they began. Time passed and Issei was already 15 years old. He had hair down to his waist and had 4 pairs of wings. He was happy about his progress, but he also felt a little lonely since he had no one to play or talk to besides his father. Issei takes the path where his father was. Issei, Father, because I don't have any brothers. God, I wanted to wait until they grew up so I could take care of them and train them all. Issei, I see, then it's not time yet. God, I say yes. Issei, great. God creates some spheres that minutes later transformed into a girl and 5 boys. Issei noticed that the children were only 4 years old. Issei, because they are so small, Father. God, well, it's because I used a lot of power, the truth. Issei, I see, and what are they going to be called? God comes to his children, and they were standing just watching them. God, this is Gabriel. While he was crouching down, he gave her a smile and she returned it. God, he is Raphael. And he is Lucifer, Samuel, Uriel, and Michael. Issei just gave a big smile to all the children. Issei, well, my name is Issei and I am his older brother. The children see their father, and he just nodded, and little by little the children approached Issei and gave him a hug that he responded with a smile. Gabriel, Oni-chan. Issei, yes, Samuto. Gabriel, what are we going to do? Issei, how about we go play a little? All the children nodded and followed Issei. Gabriel took Issei's hand and Uriel the other. Lucifer went on his shoulder while the others just followed them. God just watched as they left with a smile since they got along very well. When Issei arrived with his power, he created some games for children and took each one to a different one. Issei watched as his brothers had fun with a big smile. Hours passed and Issei approached them. Issei, and they thought so. Samuel, it was fun. Issei, I'm glad to hear it. Lucifer, brother. Issei, yes. Lucifer, because your hair is that color and ours is like that. Issei, I don't know. But don't take it seriously, your color is pretty like the rest. Lucifer just nodded. Issei, you know very well, let's now do the same thing I did when I was born. Michael, and that would be brother. Issei liked being called that. Issei, learning to fly is the basics. At that, one of the children raises his hand. Issei, yes, Uriel. Uriel, and how will we do that? Issei, I want you to concentrate and think about the same thing I have. Taking out his 4 pairs of golden wings that surprised the children. Lucifer, great. Issei just gave her a smile. Issei, fine, try, but don't overexert yourself, okay? All the children nodded and started trying. Issei just watched as they tried since he was in the same situation. It took 20 minutes until the first one to achieve it was Gabriel, who took out some small white wings. Issei, good job, little sister. Gabriel, thank you, Oni-chan. While I was looking at their wings a bit, after 10 minutes they all had their wings already. Issei was going to say something, but Samuel took his hand away. Issei, yes. Samuel, because our wings are different since we have few and you have many. Issei, when you get stronger you'll have more. But that doesn't matter now. Try to move them. The children just nodded and started. After half an hour they were all floating, and seconds later they all took flight, although it was not very high. Issei just looked at them with a smile as he liked that feeling of family. After a few minutes all the children were on the ground already tired. Issei just approached them. Issei, I see you had fun. Lucifer, it was actually great. Issei, I know. Let's go, you must be tired and I think Father has already created your room. The children stood up and started following Issei. Upon arriving they entered a house and Issei guided each child to their room since it had their name on it. When they did so, each one laid down and fell asleep since they were tired from their day of fun. 2. Issei was going outside the house looking for his father. After a few seconds of searching he found him sitting quietly. Issei, hello father. God, Issei, tell me how it went with your brothers. Issei, it was fun actually. We have a big family now. God, that's right, son. While you were with your brothers, I had an idea and well, I wanted to consult you about it. Issei, go ahead. God, I will create life on planet Earth. Issei, that sounds good, but why there? God, well, the place looks very lonely and there must be someone to take care of it. Issei, I see, and when will you start? God, in a few days, and with time I want you to go and look at them. I don't want them to interfere since they must get ahead on their own. Issei, okay, but when would I have to go? God, don't worry son, that would be in 5 years. Since I have to fix many things and well this way you spend time with your brothers. Issei, I understand. But I have a question. God, tell me. Issei, because my brothers have white wings. God, well, when you were born, I gave you more than half of my power, that's the reason. Issei, then? God, don't worry, I've recovered it all over the years. And with your brothers, it was because I divided it up. Issei, I see. God, now it's your turn to train them. Issei, okay, cool, I'll do my best to make them very strong people. God just gave him a smile, and minutes later everyone took their way. The next day Issei stood in front of his brothers. Issei, well, little brothers, what do you want to do today? Lucifer, I want to be as strong as your brother. Michael, me too. Gabriel, as long as I'm with my brothers I'm fine. The other two just nodded. Issei, well, we'll train a little since their bodies are still small and they should also have fun. The children just nodded and Issei began to explain things to them. The 5 years passed and Issei was already 20, and the others were already 14 years old. At that time, the children had learned a lot from their older sister, and they all had 2 pairs of wings and Issei already had 5 pairs. Gabriel, Oni-chan, we can rest a little. Issei, of course. I told them not to train that much. Uriel, time has passed. Lucifer, but I've become very strong during this time. No one can beat me. Giving a light laugh. Samuel, except 2 people. Lucifer, who? Samuel, Father and Oni-sama. Lucifer, that's it for now, but later I'll get over them. Issei, I'll be waiting for that moment. Well, I'll leave for a few moments, I have to talk to Father. The boys just nodded and Issei left the place walking since he liked to do so. After a few minutes I arrive at an office and knock, and seconds later I enter. Issei, something cool is happening. God, son, do you remember that talk we had the day your brothers were born? Issei thought about it for a few seconds until he remembered. Issei, you say you were going to bring life to Earth. God, that's right, son. The time has come for you to leave. Issei, I understand then. God, you will leave tomorrow, you can spend this day with your brothers. Issei just nodded and left the office towards his brothers. When he arrived he saw them training and called them. Michael, something's wrong. Issei, look guys, I have to take a rather long trip and I don't know when I'll be back. They were surprised to hear that, and the first to react was Gabriel, who approached him and gave him a hug. Gabriel, Oni-chan, please don't go. Issei, I'm sorry little sister, but I have to do it. Father asked me to do it, and you're already grown up. You don't need me anymore. Uriel, of course we need you. Lucifer, it's true, I haven't beaten you yet. Trying not to cry. Just like the rest. Issei, when I get back you will. Father will keep me informed of your progress and the things you do. Please take care of yourselves and protect your sister, please. The boys just nodded and Gabriel didn't say anything. After a few minutes they returned to the house and Issei was carrying Gabriel in his hands. The night passed and everyone was sleeping. It took Issei a while to get his sister to fall asleep, but after a few minutes he managed to do so. Then he left the house and went to his father. Issei, I'm ready, father. God, good son. Take care of yourself on your trip, and before you leave change your appearance because you will attract a little attention. Issei just nodded and changed his appearance to that of a 15-year-old boy with brown hair. Issei, and tell me father, what will I do? God, just watch how they behave, don't interfere as they have their own issues to resolve. Issei, I understand. God, you can travel even if you don't believe it. There are many civilizations now, but I know you will adapt quickly. Issei, I'll try. Please let me know how they do it. God, that's how it will be, son, but since they are older they will have the same mission as you. Issei, I will have more brothers. God just nodded and Issei just put on a big smile. God, so they'll be busy for a while. Issei, I see, I'm glad about that. God, I will communicate with you so you can rest easy. Issei, okay. In that, Issei approaches his father and gives him a hug, and when they separate he goes in a golden light to the human world. When he arrived he appeared in a forest. Issei, well, I'll have to get used to my new life. I hope brothers don't worry too much and continue with their lives. At that point he set off on his way since it was night. After a few minutes of walking he came out of the forest and saw a small town. When he arrived, many people looked at him until an old man spoke to him. Old man, something is being offered to you here, young man. Issei, I was lost, sir, and well, I saw this place. I hope you don't mind me being here. Old man, of course not, boy. You're welcome. You must be tired, you're hungry. Issei, I'm fine, sir, but thank you very much for your offer, it's very kind. Giving her a small smile. Old man, come on, I'll take you to my house, even though it's small, it's something. Issei, thank you. They both walked away while Issei was thinking. Issei, he's a good person. Upon arrival, they gave Issei a small blanket which he gladly took. Old man, where are you from, boy, and your family? Issei, they are very far away, sir. And where I come from, for some years now I have been traveling to explore everything and learn something new. Old man, I see, but you have to be careful out there are many dangerous animals that are also sold. Issei didn't know much about that, so he used one of his abilities and read a little of the old man's memories, just the ones necessary to know something. Knowing how things worked where I lived, I now knew who they were talking about. Issei, don't worry, sir, the good thing is that I have never come across them and I have had a safe trip. Old man, you're lucky kid. But well, it's late and I must rest, I'm a bit old. Issei just nodded and helped the elder get up, and then he went to rest and Issei lay down to do the same. 3. The next day Issei said goodbye to the old man and continued his journey to continue observing. Issei, they were good people who lived there. As he continued on his way, a month had already passed and Issei had met good and bad people who are easily led by money. While in heaven God had already made several angels not as powerful as the last ones. The boys trained them just as their older brother did with them. Gabriel treated them well, he was patient and supported them, just like Michael and Raphael. Uriel was a little strict, but he supported them, just like Samuel. But with Lucifer it was different, he was not a patient person, but he still trained them. After finishing the training of each group they went to their father. Upon entering they saw him in an office. God, and how did your day go today? Michael, they learned quickly. Gabriel, yes, they are very cute. But Lucifer is a bit strict with them. Lucifer, what can I say, they will be very strong. Uriel, yes, but as Onisama said, there is no need to strain yourself. Samuel, speaking of which, how is the father? God, everything went well and your trip was trouble-free. He sends you his regards. Giving a smile to her children, they were happy when they heard that, and after a few more minutes of talking they left the place. Time passed and the boys that Issei trained were already 20 years old and had become adults. But Gabriel, she was one of the most beautiful women there. While his brothers had also become very strong at that age, there were already many angels and everything was happy because there was more family. While Issei was already 26 years old and had been to several places, he had to change his appearance once since he decided to stay in a big city to see how it prospers. Issei, it's been so long, and the strange thing is that the last time I spoke to father was 3 years ago. What must have happened? I'd better stop thinking about it and continue my mission. As I closed my eyes, as it was night time where I was. In heaven Lucifer entered his father's office. God, something's wrong, son. Lucifer, Father, I'm already very strong, don't you think I should have the position already? God, you're too young for that. Plus, he doesn't just have to have strength. Lucifer, maybe, but that doesn't matter. I want to rule. God, son, don't say those words here, no one rules, I just take care of them. Lucifer, but I'm tired of training only weaklings like my group. God, I see that things are going well for you. Lucifer, I'm not referring to them, I'm referring to others. God, I see, but you still can't do what you planned, son. Lucifer, I'm tired of this nonsense. Maybe I should start my own kingdom. God, you know what you're saying, son. Lucifer, that's right, Father, get out of this place. Besides, ever since he left, everything has become more boring. God, don't talk about your brother like that, he's busy. Lucifer, what does it matter? Maybe on that mission he became weaker. Now we far surpass him. God, son, don't do anything stupid. Lucifer, well, I already did. While creating a spear of light, but it began to change to something very black. When finished, I inserted it into the desk. Lucifer, this is goodbye. The next time we see each other it won't be on good terms, Father. Leaving the office while God stayed in his office with a slightly sad face because of the path his son took. Lucifer walked through the place and called those who followed him when several of his followers, who were many, came down from heaven to earth to create their own kingdom. But as they went down they had changes. One was that their wings changed completely and another was that their hair also changed. It was no longer blonde, now some were black or different. Michael and Samuel watched as their brothers left and quickly went to their father, who upon arriving saw the office in disarray. Samuel, Father, what happened here? God, your brother Lucifer left here. He is no longer your brother, the change. They both couldn't believe it. Michael, but why? God, the power he gained won him over. Samuel, you should call our brother to inform him. God, no, he must continue with his thing, we will take care of this. I trust you, children. They both just nodded. God, gather your brothers, I have to report this. They both left the room to gather everyone who was left. After half an hour everyone was gathered and also noticed how several of their brothers were missing, but before asking, their father came out and gave the news. When they heard how their brother left with another, they were shocked. God, children, difficult days are coming, so prepare yourselves, we don't know what awaits us. They all nodded and left the place. Gabriel quickly went to his father to find out more. When he arrived, he told her what had happened, which only caused her to cry since they both grew up together. Her father just hugged her and let her vent. While below some now demons celebrated their freedom. Demon, Lucifer-sama, what are we going to do now? Lucifer, first we have to prepare ourselves and then we will attack heaven, that place will be ours. Having a big smile just like everyone else. Years passed and much had changed. The angels prepared for war, just like the demons, since sometimes they only went to cause destruction and then they left. Issei had not been informed of such a thing, so he continued his mission as if nothing was happening. The demons under Lucifer's command created their city. Everyone respected him. At that time 3 more people joined the charge, being Leviathan, Beelzebub and Asmodeus, since they had developed their magic very well. Lucifer was happy every time his ranks grew in power, and he was preparing for war. Lucifer, very soon brothers and father, I will keep everything. I hope to see you there, Issei. I want to see you defeated. Years passed again, and the first great war began where there were many losses on both sides. In the end, Lucifer left the place frustrated not from losing his men but from not seeing his older brother. While some in the angels were crying for the loss of their brothers, his father was saddened by the way things were going. And I noticed that some were getting very angry, so I calmed them down. After fixing everything, he went to his office and changed the system so that the same thing that happened to his son Lucifer would not happen to his children. Days passed and some of the angels became very curious, and saw some humans doing things that only caused some feelings to arise and change completely. God noticed that things were changing a lot, and it was not for the better. He was going to call his oldest son, but he stopped because he would see him very sad, so he let him continue with his thing. 4. The years continued and Issei continued with his thing. He made several friends on his journey. He saw many die because of the war, but he still let them rest in peace and continued. Issei, a lot has happened here. I hope my family is okay. While he looked at the sky, since without his father's permission he could not return on his own. In heaven everything had changed. There were only a few angels left since several had fallen and created their own kingdom. God had no choice but to create more angels for the times to come. They were not as strong, but they could defend themselves. At that time he realized that his elders had already forgotten his brother, but he did not say anything because he did not want them to worry anymore. Also, one of his sons began to hate dragons a lot because they killed his brothers, which only caused him to become more isolated from the rest. After months the war started again, where a new side had now joined, the fallen angels. Lucifer thought they were on his side, but no. Each one had different motives. The war never stopped and there were more and more losses, and they became stronger each time. Issei continued on his journey as he went through another different country on a ship looking for new lands with a group, but then he noticed two large presences. Issei put everyone to sleep and took out his wings and quickly went to the place. Although years had passed, Issei continued with his training so as not to lower his level and not disappoint his brothers. Upon arriving he saw two large dragons, one white and one red, fighting. Issei approached them. Issei, excuse me. They continued with their thing and didn't pay attention to him until after a few minutes, when Issei had to insist. Red, what do you want? Don't you see that we are busy? Issei, it's just that they are causing a lot of problems here, and there are also humans nearby, and with their fights they can get hurt. White, and that's what we care about. Issei, they have families. Although I wasn't going to get involved in their lives, but this is different. Red, are you going to stop us? Don't make us laugh. Both dragons started laughing. Issei, I don't like violence, but if it's about protecting those innocent people, I'll have to stop them. Red, don't you know who we are? Issei, because I would have to know. Red, my name is Drake, the celestial dragon of domination. White, and I am Albion, a celestial too. And we fight so that there is only one. Issei, the truth is that it is a pointless fight, but who am I to judge? Drake, you're right, brat, so get out of here and leave us to our own devices. Issei just shook his head and created a spear of light between gold and silver. Albion, then it will be the hard way. Issei just nodded and went to attack the white. When he threw his spear, he noticed how it shrank every time it got closer until it was left with nothing. Issei, what was that? Albion, it's my ability, so you will never get close to me, brat. Issei, if that's the case, then I'll go all out. Creating a golden armor with white. I know it's not armor, but it's better than others, and change your hair in silver. Then he attacked with great speed that surprised both dragons, and when he was close he hit Albion in the face, causing him to fall to the ground. Drake, it wasn't bad, but that won't stop us. He created a large fireball from his mouth and threw it at Issei. He only created a shield and then went on the attack by creating a sword and making a scratch near his heart. That caused Drake to let out a scream because it hurt him. He used his tail to send Issei flying, but he reacted quickly and flew so that they wouldn't touch him. But in doing so, Albion struck him with a blow that left him embedded in the ground. Both dragons thought he would be very injured, but then they saw him come out with almost nothing. Drake, you should have stayed there, now only death awaits you. Issei, if that is my destiny, then so be it. Going to the attack. After 2 hours of fighting, Issei could be seen hurt with little strength. But he was not the only one, since the two dragons were the same. Albion, I'm surprised they're still alive, and you can fight both of them. Drake, you are strong, I don't deny it, but this is where it ends. You have my respect. Albion, I say the same. Both used their best skills against Issei. He didn't have much strength left, but he still didn't give up and prepared himself. He noticed two large attacks coming at him. Issei created a large shield to stop the attack, but it also affected him a little, but he still didn't give up. The attack only caused him to fall to the ground as both skills dragged him deeper. Drake, that boy was strong and he caused me a lot of harm. Albion, I say the same. But now that I'm done, I'll let you rest for today and we'll continue soon. Drake just nodded and they both took flight. Meanwhile, Issei had managed to deflect the attack, but he had no strength to continue, so he could only think. Issei, I'm sorry, father and brothers, I won't be able to see you again. I love you all. Closing his eyes and falling further down, but when he closed them, the little that was left of his armor activated a barrier. In heaven, God was in his office until he felt his heart ache and some tears come out. God, my son, what happened to you on your journey? Trying to find it but couldn't find it. God, I hope you can rest in peace. You were a great son and don't worry. I won't tell your brothers. I don't want them to worry. Wiping away his tears a little since he didn't want to be seen like that. Years passed and the war did not stop. At that time, Samuel had already left because of his hatred. And many soldiers from the three groups continued to fall. By that time, the older ones had already forgotten about their brother as they wanted to concentrate on defending their home. God didn't say anything about it because he didn't want them to worry. While two dragons were fighting, he appeared on the battlefield and caused much destruction. God tried to stop them, but they did not pay attention to him. He approached his two sons who were the leaders, Lucifer and Azazel. And they stopped their war to stop them. The four Maos went to the attack, and God of the angels and Azazel of the fallen. After hours of fighting, they were arrested and God imprisoned their souls to cause more destruction. The leaders left the place because they were tired. After a while they continued the war, and that was the last one because the Maos died just like the biblical God. But before dying, God and Lucifer had their last conversation. Lucifer, so this is where it ends. God, it was destiny. Lucifer, I just wanted to fight my brother and prove what I was about. God, I know, but before I die I will tell you one thing, since you will be the only one who will know. Lucifer, and that would be it. God, your brother Issei died years ago in a battle against whoever it was, and I couldn't find any trace of him. Lucifer was surprised to hear that, and just shed a tear. Even though he didn't accept it, he loved it. Lucifer, I see. God, before I leave I will record a message for the person who finds it if you want to say something. Lucifer just nodded and said a few words to his brother and father, and minutes later they both died. After a while his soldiers arrived and saw them dead. Gabriel, upon seeing his father, could only cry for his loss, just like the angels. At that moment they stopped the war because they had lost their leaders and many lives, and each one went their separate ways. Years passed and there were no more wars. The angels were the most affected, as there were very few left. Years passed and we arrived at the current era. 5. Years had passed and everyone had forgotten the war and moved on with their lives. Meanwhile, in the human world, in a cold place, a large piece of ice was floating, and over time it began to melt until the person inside opened his eyes and left the place completely. By doing so he was lacking strength and his body was very weak, but he had no other injuries. Issei, I thought I would be dead. What happened to me? At that point I noticed that his battle suit was in very bad condition, but the barrier was completely deactivated. Issei, so thanks to Father's suit I was able to save myself. In that, Issei noticed something. Even though he was weak, he could feel that his father's presence had disappeared, since he could always feel it in all his years of travel. Issei, what happened in all this time? The bad thing is that I can't go look for him or communicate with him. He tried to stand up but fell. His legs were weak. He stayed there for a while until he tried again until he succeeded. After standing, he took a few small steps until his body got used to it again. One day he spent and trained his body a little since he was very weak. A week passed and he had half of his power, but it was enough to create clothes and take out a pair of his wings and take flight towards the ground. But before that he used an invisibility spell so as not to attract attention. After 2 hours of traveling I arrived on land and noticed that people had different clothes and that the houses were different among other things. With that idea in mind, he approached a person who was sitting there, and even with his invisibility active, he read his mind. And with so much information that he discovered, he was surprised and left the place, entered an alley, and created some changes similar to the person who was a black suit. As he left the alley, he walked through the streets. Many people looked at him, but Issei did not pay attention to it since he was thinking about what he saw until he came across a library, so he entered and looked for information. He looked for all the history books he could find and began to read. After 2 hours of reading, he finished and left the place. It was already late, so he walked and sat on a bench. Issei, many years have passed. I was frozen for so long. Many things have changed, and now humans live a little in peace after so many wars they caused. For now I will have to adapt to this life again and continue with my mission. Later I will see how to communicate with others. With that idea in mind, he got up and went to a hotel, and with one of his skills he created money and found a place to rest. When he was about to fall asleep, a magic circle appeared near him, and when he touched it he saw a hologram of his father and sat up quickly. Issei, father. God, if someone sees this hologram, it means that you are a very trustworthy person for me. I will only say a few things, and those are that I died in the war. Issei was surprised by that since he heard that there was a war, and that his father had died. God explained everything that had happened to get to the war, and Issei was more surprised with what he heard, especially knowing that his brother Lucifer was guided by his hatred just like his brother Samuel. Issei only shed a few tears of the things that had happened. God, I don't know who the person is who hears this, but maybe it's my son Issei, but I don't know since I stopped feeling your presence, but a small part of me believed that you were alive, so if it is you, I'm sorry for not informing you. I didn't want you to be sad about everything that was happening. Also, on some occasions I could see how happy they were to see humans. So I hope you take care of them like you did and be happy too. Also, there is a person who wants to say something. Lucifer's face is shown then, and Issei was surprised by the change he had. Lucifer, well, if it's you, Issei, I hope you are strong because I am, although I just fell, and well, I always liked you. I hope you forgive me for what I did, but I wanted to be strong like you, but I took another path. I got carried away, hee. But well, we'll see each other maybe. Giving him a half smile and cutting off the communication, Issei was silent for a while until he cried several tears. Issei, why did so many things happen? If you didn't ask me for help, Father would have done something. She said it while crying, but after a few minutes she stopped. Issei, I promise that I will continue with my mission and also bring peace with those factions as you wished. But first I must recover my form. I am very weak in my current state. That fight I had left me very bad. He got up from his bed and went out to the balcony and saw the lights of the city where he was. Issei, I will continue with this peace that you wanted, Father. He stood there for a few minutes looking at the view until he went back inside and lay down to rest. The next day he left the hotel and went to train a little to recover everything he had lost in the afternoon. He bought a small house and entered a university to get something to defend himself later. On his first day he attracted a lot of attention because he walked around with his normal appearance, and for women, seeing him was like seeing an angel because he was very beautiful. Most of the men were very envious of her appearance. Issei could feel all of their feelings, so he didn't say anything and continued on his way. Time passed and Issei got good grades in all his classes, and he had also created a fan club. Since Issei always helped whoever asked him with a smile. Many women almost fainted when they saw that smile. Some men respected him because over time they noticed that he was kind and did not go after women and that he was very helpful, so they became friends with him. Some women confessed to him, but Issei kindly rejected them as he noticed that they only wanted him to show off to their friends and didn't just have superficial feelings for him. Some of them were sad after being rejected, but Issei encouraged them to keep going. At that moment all the girls at the university promised to never confess since no one would have the chance to date him. Issei continued with his training and already had half of his former power. Issei, wow, that battle really left me feeling bad. This time I have to be stronger so that doesn't happen again, and so I can bring peace. He said this out of motivation because he liked to see people's happiness. Time passed and several modeling companies tried to hire Issei, but he always refused since he was not interested in those things. There were always representatives at the entrance of the university, but many students chased them away because they did not want them to bother their friend. After a while they stopped insisting and Issei thanked most of them for their help. And so time moves forward. 6. Time passed and Issei with his intelligence had no problems with anything since he learned very quickly, and in a short time he managed to exceed the expectations of his teachers since they could no longer teach him. 2 years had already passed and Issei was ready to receive his diploma since he obtained the necessary credits and also dedicated himself a lot to his studies and training. At that time Issei did not notice anything strange since the country he was in was a quiet place without problems. On his graduation day, many people came to say goodbye to him. They gave him many flowers, which he happily accepted. He also said goodbye to the friends he had made, since that same night he would be leaving on a trip. Issei, these 2 years passed very quickly, but it was interesting and I learned a lot. He said this while looking at the view of the airport, since he would travel around the world seeing everything. He lowered his aura to that of a human so as not to attract attention since many things had changed. He also looks like a 25-year-old, but he is already hundreds of years old. They made the call and he got on the plane to Spain because he was interested in the place. Meanwhile in heaven Michael took over from his father, and was now the leader of heaven. He was in charge of the system among other things. At that moment his sister enters the room and saw Michael signing many papers. Michael, what brings you here, little sister? Gabriel, I just came to inform you that the 2 exorcists have already headed to Japan. Michael, I understand. Gabriel, brother, it's dangerous that we send them, and if that's what we think, they won't have a chance against Kokabel. Michael, I know, but I know that the Mao's sisters are going to help them. Gabriel, even so, they don't have that level to face Kadri yet. Michael, I know, but Azazel is also informed, so he said he would send someone. Gabriel, I see, and since when do you talk to him? Michael, it's been a while. I've been talking to him and the Maos, it's time to finish. Gabriel, you mean about having an alliance? Michael, that's right. It's time to have the peace that father wanted. Gabriel, I'm glad they reached that agreement. The previous few days were horrible. Michael, I know. Gabriel, when that day comes, tell me so I can go with you. Michael just nodded and Gabriel left the room. Meanwhile Issei was arriving at his destination and the first thing he did was rent a car and travel around several places. He liked what he saw. Issei, this is beautiful. Years ago there was nothing like this landscape. The strange thing is that I feel some strange auras in some humans, but I don't know what they are. I still have a lot to investigate. And so he continued his journey. A week passed, and he had already gone to the places he had wanted so much, and now it was time to go somewhere else. Issei, where am I going now? While looking at a globe of planet Earth. Issei, I will go to Japan because, as I have read before, there are more beautiful places to see at this time. With that idea in mind he went to the airport and bought his ticket, and waited for them to call him to leave. After many hours of travel he arrived at his destination, Tokyo. When he looked around he saw many interesting things like their culture. And he went to explore everything he could. A few days passed and Issei continued his journey. It was getting late, and he was heading to a small town. Issei, well, I'll rest in that town called Ko and tomorrow I'll continue my journey. After half an hour of driving he arrived at his destination, which was a hotel. Once inside he went out onto the balcony. But at that moment he felt some very familiar auras. Issei, it can't be, those auras belong to Gabriel and Michael. At that moment he takes out a pair of his wings and flies off to his destination. Meanwhile at the faction meeting a boy named Katsuhaya, the wielder of the celestial dragon Drake, was fighting against Vala Luficer. The brown-haired boy didn't have it easy since he didn't have much time in the supernatural world. Rias, Onisama, he won't be able to, we have to help him. Surzek, I know Rias, but we can't interfere in that fight since they give off a great aura. Seraphal, we can only wait for him to be able to. After a few minutes of fighting, Katsu no longer had power. Katsu, Drake, I need more power, I must protect Bucho. Drake, you can't anymore, boy, you've reached your limit, not with the power you stole from Albion can you continue. In that, Vala throws an attack that sends Katsu far away. Falling near Rias and her group, she quickly took him. Vala, you're weak, you're not even good for warming up. This ends here. He was about to attack, but seconds later a person fell from the sky, causing a cloud of dust. Seconds later the smoke dispersed and everyone could see a silver-haired man standing there. Vala, and who the buck are you? Issei, but regarding the child, you don't talk like that. Vala, what do I care about that? Issei was going to say something, but he noticed something in the boy. Issei, what's your name, kid? No one understood what he was doing, but two people felt like they knew that person but couldn't remember. Valley, I will give you the honor of knowing before I finish us all. My name is Vala Lucifer. Issei was a little surprised to know that. Issei, so you had descendants. He told himself that. Vala, what are you mumbling about? As far as I can see, you are just a simple human and I am one of the bearers of the celestial dragon Albion. Issei was again surprised to hear that name. Issei, how is that possible that he wasn't a dragon? What happened to him? Then some wings begin to shine. Albion, some things happened in the war. Issei, don't tell me that you and that guy called Drake were fighting in a place where you shouldn't have. Albion was a little surprised to learn that as was Drake. Drake, what do you mean? Issei, oh, so you're here too. I met you two together again. Drake, who you are, I don't remember you. Albion, I say the same. Issei, how are they going to remember me if it's been so many years since we fought? Albion, I have no idea who you are. Issei, I know you might remember a battle you two had in a very cold place and someone interrupted you. At that moment, the two celestial dragons began to think until they remembered that day, and their eyes opened wide. Albion, how is it possible that they are still alive? When he said those words, everyone was surprised, even Vala. Katsu, you know Drake here. Drake, yes, it was hundreds of years ago. Albion and I were still fighting until someone interrupted us and fought the two of us alone. Vala, how is that possible if he's only a human? It's a lie, right, Albion? Albion, it's true. We spent a few hours fighting him, and he left us both badly injured. But since you're still alive, we used our best ability. Issei, I won't lie to you, I also thought I had died, but 2 years ago I woke up and well, here I am. Drake, you're tough to kill, kid. You haven't changed a bit in all these years. Albion, I say the same. Valley, because they speak to him so friendly. Albion, well, he fought the two of us alone. And he gave us a great battle, so he earned my respect. Drake, I say the same thing. Not even the Maus and the biblical God could defeat us. Everyone was surprised to hear that, since in front of them was someone extremely strong. Valley, but what matters is that in the past, and now it's different, with my power you are no match. Issei, it's obvious that you're very influenced by power. You really don't deserve to have Lucifer's power. Vala was a little surprised to hear that. Valley, and you will do nothing. At that he let out a light laugh. And Issei quickly moved to Vala and put a finger on his forehead, and seconds later Vala fell to the ground. Valley, that was it. Nothing happened. Albion, if something happened. Vala, and that would be it. Albion, he took away your demonic side. Now you're just a human with my power. Everyone was shocked to hear that. No one could believe it. Vala, who are you, damn it? Issei. 7. Vala, who are you, damn? Issei, my name is Issei. No one had any idea who he was, they had never heard that name before, but two people found that name familiar, but they still couldn't remember. But Valley, annoyed, went straight to Issei, and when he was about to arrive, Issei just moved away and gave him a big blow to the stomach that knocked the wind out of him. Valley, why does it hurt so much if it was just a hit? Albion, that's easy now, you have a human body. So you're weak now. Val is so? Albion, you better go and train is my suggestion. Vala was upset, so many years lost in one night. He was about to say something but his partner arrived and took him away. There was silence, and Issei began to walk to where the others were. Surzek, who are you? Issei, I said it recently, my name is Issei. Azazel, I have no idea who you are. Issei, I sense some sacred energy in you but also something else that you are. Azazel, are you stupid? Issei, I've been asleep for so long. Drake, I'm telling you. He's a fallen angel. Issei, that's a fallen angel. Azazel, you're really lost, kid. And how did you manage to take Vala's power away? Issei, I just did it, he doesn't deserve it and power. Michael, thanks for helping us out today though. Issei, wow, you've really grown. Just like you, Gabriel. Gabriel, sorry, but this is the first time we've met. Issei, seriously, you've already forgotten me. Michael, sorry, but we don't know. Issei just gave a small sigh as so many years had passed and he left when they were young. Issei, I understand. Many years ago a young man trained his brothers since they had just been born. He taught them to fly, which was the first thing they learned. Nobody understood those words. Michael, what are you getting at? Issei, well, my father named those children Gabriel, Michael, Lucifer, Samuel, Uriel and Raphael. Everyone was shocked to learn that. Issei, I still remember when my sister called me Oni-chan. Putting on a smile at that moment, Gabriel remembered. It was hard for him to stop because so many years had passed, and they were just children when he left. Gabriel, it's you Oni-chan. Everyone was shocked to hear that. Michael, Gabriel I think. Gabriel, Oni-sama, don't you remember our older brother? He trained us and he also went on a mission on father's side. At that moment Michael remembered who he was. Michael, brother. Issei just gave them a smile and seconds later Gabriel was hugging him with some tears and Michael was just letting out some from happiness. Some were in shock at everything that was happening. Issei, let's go to a better place to talk, okay? Everyone nodded in shock and went inside. The leaders sat down and Gabriel hugged Issei, not wanting to let him go. Issei, well, tell me what happened. Michael, well, Lucifer revealed himself and caused a great war. And then Azazel and others fell. Issei, so you were an angel just like her over there. Azazel, that's right, but I didn't know that old man had another son. Issei, well, I had a long journey. My mission was just to observe humans until one day I fought against them both. Penemu, but... Issei, excuse me, but what is your name? Penemu, my name is Penemu, nice to meet you. Issei, I see, and you too. Surzek, my name is Surzek Gremery, but now I have the title of Lucifer. Issei, I see. Surzek, you don't mind me using that name. Issei, you're using it for a reason. So there's no problem. Seraphal, my name is Seraphal Citri, but I have the title of Leviathan. Issei, nice to meet you both. But I'm honestly surprised to meet other races. Michael, I heard you say that you woke up 2 years ago because you didn't go back to heaven. Issei, well, I could only come back when father wanted me to, but since he passed away, I noticed that something's changed and I couldn't. Gabriel, how did you find out about his death? Issei, I could always feel it on my travels, but when I woke up not so much, but I thought it was because I was weak, but later I discovered that it was not. Michael, he died in the last war against Lucifer. Issei, I know, he told me. Gabriel, how? Issei, I got a message and it told me what had happened, and Lucifer also left me a message. In that, Issei shows the hologram, and they were surprised to see what they said, more like Lucifer said his feelings. Azazel, I didn't expect that, honestly. Issei, he was a good person, I saw him grow a little. Michael, I remember a little bit that he was always the one who wanted to fight the most. Penemu, how strong you are. Gabriel, He is very strong. Even all of us together couldn't touch him. I had forgotten his photo. He said it with pride, and several people looked at Michael and he just nodded. Michael, we were trying our best to play it, but we never made it. Issei, but now they have grown strong and are also adults. Gabriel, you didn't change that much. Issei just gave her a smile. Issei, Michael, what happened to Samo father? I can't explain much. Michael, he took a lot of hatred towards dragons since one of them once killed several of ours, and over time he became distant, and you were not there to guide us. Since father was busy. Issei, I see, and what happened to him? Michael, he left, and over time his body changed. Now he is not very recognizable and his blood is very dangerous for everyone. Issei, but I'll go look for him later. I have to bring him back. Gabriel, but that's dangerous. Issei, they are my family and I must take care of them. Before I couldn't, but now I can. Michael, if you're ready, that means. Issei, father, I'll leave you in charge, so continue with your position. Michael, but. Issei, you want to get rid of the paperwork, right? I studied these years and you think I wouldn't know. Besides, I'll help you with whatever I can. Michael, okay. Gabriel, Oni-chan. Everyone was shocked to hear that. Issei, I think you're a bit old to say that. Gabriel, it doesn't matter, I'll keep calling you like that. Maybe you don't like it. Putting on a puppy dog look at the end, Issei agreed. Gabriel, I may as well ask you a favor. Issei, go ahead. Gabriel, I can see your wings were very beautiful. Issei just nodded and took out a pair of his wings. Everyone was surprised when they saw them because they were golden and very pretty. Azazel, they're the same as the old man's. Gabriel, that's why they are very pretty. Seraphal, because they are different from the others. Issei, that's because when I was born I was the only one, so he gave me more than half of his power, and when my brothers were born it was less. Azazel, I see. It's interesting. In that, Issei observes Azazel for a few seconds and he was a little nervous. Azazel, something's wrong. Issei, so that's how you fell. Azazel's eyes widened upon hearing that. Azazel, what do you mean? Issei, well, it was because you were very curious and also because Gabriel rejected you. Everyone was shocked to hear that. Azazel, since you knew, no one should know. Michael, he has all the father skills, so it was a no-brainer. Issei, Michael, let's go help fix the heaven system. I will help the angels not fall and can have a family, but with some conditions. Michael, okay. Issei, well, it was nice meeting all of you. I hope we see each other in the future. At that, Michael approaches Issei just like Irina and Gabriel had Issei by the hand, and seconds later they left the place. 8. Upon arriving in heaven, they appeared in the office. Issei, what a mess. Michael, well, I've been busy and I haven't had time. Issei, I see, but first of all, who is that young woman who came with us? At this, Irina falls to her knees. Irina, I am Shido Irina, part of Michael-sama's deck. Issei, get up, don't do that. And what is that about cards? Michael, since there were few angels left, we made it so that the high-ranking angels could reincarnate some humans with abilities. Issei, I see. Gabriel, but later I'll introduce you to my group. Michael, you can also have your deck. Issei, no thanks, that doesn't interest me, honestly. Michael, I see. Then let's go. At that, Irina left the place and the three of them went to the last place and entered a place. Issei observed the system a little and after a few seconds he made it work at 100%, surprising Michael and Gabriel. Issei, every so often I will give him more power so he can continue like this. Now the angels can have a family and they won't fall, but if any of them plan to betray us, their body will burn. Gabriel, what do you mean? Issei, let's say that when an angel joins an enemy side, their body burns. I don't want anyone to tell about that. Also, among other things, the only thing you can say is that they can have a family. Michael, I understand. Issei, now you can be a father, Michael, ha ha ha. Michael, I'm still too young for that. Issei, well, there's no hurry. Gabriel, I recently called my 2 brothers and some other people so you can see them. We're leaving. Issei just nodded, and minutes later they arrived at a large room where Uriel and Raphael and the 10 seraphim were. Uriel, what is the emergency, Gabriel, that you call us like that? Something happened at that meeting. She just denied it. Gabriel, nothing bad happened, Uriel Onisama. Uriel, so. Issei, so you are Uriel, you have become quite a man, you have grown quite a bit. Uriel, and you are. Gabriel is part of your game. She just shook her head seconds later when Raphael arrived. Raphael, what's wrong? Gabriel, nothing bad. Issei, you're not Raphael. Raphael, that's right, and you are. Issei, boy, you should relax a little. Raphael, you don't give me orders. Issei, what's wrong? Gabriel, over time he became a bit grumpy. Issei, I see. Perhaps you don't remember me. They both just denied it. Issei, Raphael, tell me who taught you how to use the sword. Raphael, my father. Issei, and before him. You must remember. At that moment he began to think and remembered someone with golden wings and white gray hair, and seconds later he remembered. Raphael, it's your brother. Most of the people who were just listening were shocked to hear that. Uriel, what are you saying? Raphael, he is our older brother. Try to remember that he trained us when we were children. Uriel, after a few seconds of remembering, knew who he was and was surprised but gave him a hug, as did Raphael. Issei, it's been that long, right? Raphael, it took you so many years. Issei, something's happened, and well, not long ago I recognized Michael and Gabriel's aura. At that moment someone approached them. Excuse me, but who is he? Michael, let's have a seat, please. Everyone nodded and went to the table. Michael, he is our older brother. You didn't know about him since when we were young. He had a mission from his father, and not long ago he returned. Everyone was surprised to learn that. Metatron, but how is it possible we never heard of him? Gabriel, over time the war began, and well, we focused so much on defending ourselves that we forgot. He said it a little sadly since he had forgotten his older brother, but Issei caressed his head to cheer him up. Issei, as Michael said, I was busy these years, and well, not long ago I woke up from a dream and I couldn't come to heaven because only Father could bring me back. Uriel, I see, so you'll take over now. Issei, no, I'm not really made for that. Not long ago I fixed the system and changed some things. I prefer to travel, but when you need my help I'll come. Raphael, okay, the good thing is that you came back. Issei, and tell me how much you have improved. Raphael, fine, but I don't think I can beat you. The 10 seraphim were surprised to hear that. They knew he was very strong. Metatron, you don't think you give him much credit. Raphael, he has always been strong and we could never beat him, even though we all fought together. Issei, that's the past, besides you were just kids. Things change with time. Uriel, Gabriel, the council members want to talk about that. Gabriel, you know very well that that will never happen. Issei, what's going on? Michael, the council wants Gabriel to marry another angel. Issei, you are not the leader, why do you allow that? Michael, well. Issei, you must put things in order and make it clear that you are in charge. Besides, she will marry for love, not out of obligation. Raphael, they do it so that they have pure children. Issei, I don't care about that, like I said, it will be for love. Gather those people, things will change now. Michael just nodded. After half an hour the counselors were there. Advisor 1, what is this about Michael-sama? Michael, it's because of my sister's commitment, they know it's not possible. Counselor 2, she must know that this is so that there are more pure angels. And she and young Axel can achieve it. The boy stood there with a smile. Gabriel just hid behind Issei since he didn't like him. Issei realized something when he saw the boy. Issei, I'm not in favor of this. Counselor 4, and who are you, or rather, what are you doing here? Issei, I protect my family and I'm not in favor of that boy marrying Gabriel since he's not an angel. Everyone was shocked to hear that. Counselor 3, what do you mean? He has been with us for years. Issei, he is a fallen angel. As I see, he is using a device to hide his aura, but I can still feel it. Axel, what are you talking about? Are you crazy? At that, Issei quickly moves towards him and removes a necklace, and seconds later his blonde hair turned black, which surprised everyone since they had not noticed. Axel was going to attack Issei, but he just hit him in the stomach and created a sword of light and killed him. Issei, from now on this council is dissolved and only Michael can give orders. Counselor 1, and who are you to do such a thing? At that, Issei takes out his 12 golden wings, surprising everyone since only one person had those wings. Issei, I'm the firstborn, but I've been busy these years on an old mission on my father's side. But since I don't like being the leader, Michael will follow him and I'll just support him. Does anyone have something to say? He was serious. The counselors didn't say anything. Issei, fine, I'll take your silence as an answer. Now if you'll excuse me, you marked me. Leaving the room, Gabriel just followed him and Michael explained who he was, and seconds later there was no more advice. 9. Issei walked through the sky seeing the great changes of the place, but he could also notice some glances from people, but he did not take much importance to it. At that point someone takes his hand. Issei, you're a bit old to be doing that, Gabriel, don't you believe it? Gabriel, we have to make up for lost time, you owe me. Issei, okay. Gabriel, and what will you do now? Issei, I'll go to my room first, and then I'll see. Gabriel, I don't think you'll find your room. Issei, before I left I put a spell so that no one could enter except you and the others. Gabriel, I never went in because I don't remember. They continued on their way with some looks of astonishment from some angels, and after a few minutes they reached their destination. Issei deactivated his spell and entered his old room. Issei, wow, nothing has changed. Gabriel, you didn't have much from what I see. Issei, well, the truth is I never stayed here, I only used it to rest most of my time I trained you. Gabriel, I understand, okay, I'll leave you. But later I'll introduce you to my group. Issei just nodded and Gabriel left the place. Issei, so many years and I was finally able to return home. At that I sit down. Issei, so many things happened in this time. I think I should also do what father did with me and the others. The truth is I never tried it. In that, Issei creates a sphere in his hand of sacred power, and it began to shine, and seconds later Issei could see a girl. Issei, hello daughter. He said it with a smile at her. Father. He just nodded, and seconds later she gave him a hug and Issei only reciprocated. When the hug ended they separated. Issei could see that the girl was only 6 years old. Issei, well my daughter, your name will be Violet, tell me, do you like it? Violet, yes I like it, thank you. Issei, I'm glad, and well tell me what you want to do from now on. Violet, I just want to be with my dad. Issei, I see, then I have an idea. I will soon return to the human world and you will come with me so you can make friends. Violet, great, I want to make friends now. He said it while jumping for joy. Issei just looked at that with a smile. Issei, so that's how you felt, father? Well, Violet, do you want me to show you around a bit? She just nodded and Issei took her in his arms and they both left the place. They walked through various parts with many looks of surprise upon seeing the girl. After a few minutes of walking, Issei went to Gabriel's house when a blonde woman opened the door. Can I help you with something? Issei, yes, I told Gabriel that I would come to see her and well, he can tell me if she is there. Yes, but can you tell me your name? Issei, my name is Issei, nice to meet you. When she heard that name, she was surprised and seconds later she got on her knees. Issei, please don't do that. I must do it, you are my supervisor and Gabriel-sama informed us about you. Issei, It's okay, you can get up and tell me your name. She just nodded. My name is Marana Shadorova, nice to meet you Issei-sama. Issei, nice to meet you Marana. At that both entered the room and Marana guides Issei to Gabriel's office. Upon arriving she saw Issei and a girl in his arms. Gabriel, brother, who is that girl? Issei, she is my daughter, her name is Violet. At that point the girl comes down from her arms and she looks at Gabriel. Violet, Dad, she's my mom. Issei just laughed and Gabriel didn't know what to say, but before Issei could speak she got ahead of him. Gabriel, that's right Violet-chan, I'm your mother. Giving him a hug. Issei was a little surprised when he heard that and saw Gabriel, and she just gave him a smile. Violet, how great, now I have a mom. Gabriel, that's right, daughter, and let me introduce you to her Aunt Marana and Griselda. At that the two women look at Violet with a smile. Violet, nice to meet you, I hope we get along, aunts. Giving them both a smile, they both like seeing that smile. Marana, well, you already know me, but I hope we get along well. Griselda, my name is Griselda and if you need anything, let me know. Violet just nodded and went back to Gabriel where she took her in her arms. Griselda, nice to meet you Issei-sama. Getting on her knees. Issei helped her up. Issei, I say the same thing but don't do that. Gabriel, well, tell me what happened. Issei, I wanted to do the same as father since I had never done it, and well here Violet is with us. She just gave her father a smile. Issei, Gabriel, do you know where Michael is? Gabriel, he must be in the same room, and continued talking to the others. Issei, I see, then I will go see him since I have something to tell him. Gabriel, and that would be it. Issei, I'll tell you there. She just nodded and so the whole group left the house and went to the big room. After a few minutes of walking they arrived at their destination. Michael, brother, what brings you here? And who is that girl? Everyone was looking at Violet, and she was just hiding her face in Gabriel's chest. Issei, she is my daughter Violet. Everyone was surprised to hear that, and Issei called his daughter, and she went to him. Issei, daughter, they are your uncles. When she heard that, she was happy because she had more family. Violet, hi guys, I hope you treat me well. Giving them all a smile. When they saw her they didn't know what to say since she was very pretty. Uriel, it will be like that, don't worry. Raphael, if you need something, tell me. Uriel, hey. Michael, nice to meet you Violet-chan. Issei, well, since you two know each other, I'm here to tell you that I'll be returning to the human world with my daughter. That way, she'll learn more about the world and make friends. Michael, okay, I knew you'd leave quickly. Issei, yes. Gabriel, I'm leaving too, I have to take care of Violet-chan. Michael, but... Gabriel just gave him a smile and Michael just nodded. Violet, good thing Mom is coming too. Everyone was surprised to hear that and looked at Issei, but he didn't say anything. A few days passed and Issei and his family returned to the human world and bought a house for the three of them. Issei went to Ko's Academy and was given the job of math teacher. They then went to enroll Violet in elementary school so she could make friends. The three of them were very eye-catching, as in the words of others they were a beautiful family. 2 days passed and it was already a new beginning. Issei, daughter, are you ready? It's time for your first day. Violet, yes dad, I'm ready. Issei, well, your mom will go get you since I'll be leaving late. Violet, okay. Gabriel, we stopped by and bought some ice cream. Violet, great. Minutes later the three of them left the house heading to the elementary school. When Issei arrived, she kissed her daughter on the forehead and left the place. Gabriel, good daughter, have fun on your first day. Violet, yes, Mom. At that moment the girl entered the school. Gabriel just watched as she left with a smile. Meanwhile, Issei, after a few minutes of walking, arrived at his destination. His class would be with the second years. When he arrived at his first room, he started with the list, and several girls were blushing because of his beauty that they could hardly speak. Issei, well, since everything is done, Any questions? Girl, he looks very young to be a teacher. Issei, I graduated not long ago. At that, Issei saw some people he knew and gave them a smile that they were demons. After that, Issei started his first day of school. 10. Issei, good morning, students. I will be your new math teacher. I hope we get along. A student raised his hand. Issei, yes. Girl, he looks very young to be a teacher. Issei, I studied a lot and well, I managed to get to where I am. But anyway, leaving that topic aside, let's start classes. Boy, but in a week it will be vacation. Issei, I see, then we have to start. He opened his notebook and began to take attendance. After a few hours of classes, recess came and everyone went to lunch. Katsu-sensei. Issei, hello, how are you? Katsu, well, it's just that your class is a bit difficult. But that's not the problem. Tell me, do you want to come to my club? Bucho wants to talk to you. Issei, it's okay, lead the way. They both started walking. After a few minutes they reached their destination. Rias, welcome. As you wish to be called. Issei, just Issei. Rias, it's okay. I just wanted to tell you that I welcome you to my territory. If you need anything, just let me know. Issei, thanks, I'll keep that in mind. That S when the gauntlet appeared. Drake, because you decided to be a teacher, it's boring. Issei, I have nothing better to do besides my daughter is studying not far from here. Drake, you already have a daughter. Issei, yes, but let's leave that topic. Tell me how you got there. Drake, your father created these sacred gear and locked us here. Issei, I see. Young Katsu, I can see your glove. He just nodded and understood his hand so he could look at it more closely. Issei for his part began to analyze the glove and then with some of his magic he configured it. Katsu, what happened? Issei, Drake is trying to get out. But in a small way. Drake, after finishing listening to that, came out like a little dragon, surprising everyone with what he did. Drake, thank goodness something finally got some air. Like you did. Issei, don't change, some things weren't that difficult. Rias, you're awesome. Issei, thanks for the compliment. Rias, since the holidays are coming up, I wanted to know if you want to go to the underworld with my group. Issei, of course, I'm also curious to know what it's like there. Rias, well, I'll tell him on the day of departure. Issei just nodded and got up from his seat and left the place. The day passed peacefully and Issei headed home. Upon arriving, he was greeted with a hug from his daughter. Issei, and how did it go? Violet, very well, Dad. I made many friends. It was a good day. Issei, I'm glad to hear that. They both went to the kitchen where Gabriel was making dinner. Issei, it has a good smell. Gabriel, thanks, Violet-chan wanted to eat curry so I prepared it. Issei, I see. Now that I remember, that girl named Rias Gremery invited me to the underworld. Gabriel, and you're going to go? Issei, of course, I'm a little curious to know what it's like. I also want you to go too, and Violet, well, if you want. Violet, I'll go wherever Dad goes. Gabriel, well, it's decided. Issei, good. After that, Issei and his daughter went to the living room to watch something on TV. The days passed and the day of the holidays arrived. Issei, since you've studied a lot and behaved well, I won't give you any work. I hope you have a good time. Students, you are the best sensei. Issei just gave them a smile, and then the bell rang and everyone quickly left the room. Issei was walking through the hallways until he met someone. Issei, Azazel, how are you? Azazel, well, it's a bit boring, but okay. Hey, I heard what you did, tell me how. He said it with great emotion. Issei could see his excitement in his eyes. He then took out a sheet of paper from his suitcase and a pen. He starts writing and then gives the sheet of paper to Azazel, who takes it somewhat confused. And he begins to see what it is, and he was surprised because it was a mathematical formula. Issei, the answer is there. I wish you luck. Leaving the place. Azazel, without wasting time, left the place at great speed. After a few minutes of walking, Issei was passing through the park until he saw two people and approached. Issei, you left late today, daughter. Violet, dad. Giving him a hug and a smile when he sees him. Gabriel, they had a party because they start their vacation tomorrow. Issei, I see. But how about we go buy something for our trip? Violet and Gabriel just nodded. And Violet took both parents' hands. They arrived at the mall to buy clothes for their daughter. Not without attracting attention from both men and women. After buying what they needed, they went to a restaurant for dinner. Violet, it was fun. We have to do this again. Issei, sure, while we're in the underworld, we're going to explore the places. Violet, great. Mom, Dad, I have a question. Gabriel, yes, it does happen. Violet, a friend told me that parents sleep together because it makes them happy, but if you sleep apart, aren't you happy? She said it with some concern in her eyes. Issei didn't know what to say since he wasn't expecting that question. Gabriel, it's just that your dad was a little sick and well, you don't want Mom to get sick too, right? Violet quickly denied. Gabriel just laughed at the sight. Gabriel, besides, she's feeling better now, so from today we'll be together. Isn't that right, Issei? Issei, I'm better now. After that talk they went to the cinema and later returned home to rest. Issei carried his daughter in his arms as she was asleep from so much fun in one day. After that they both went to the room to rest. Issei, you're in favor of this. Gabriel, of course, and what would happen if Violet-chan comes and doesn't see us? Besides, it's comfortable here. Approaching Issei and hugging him. Gabriel, these have been the happiest days of my life. Because Violet and you are here. Issei, if you're right, it's been a good morning. Gabriel, I can tell you something. As she snuggled into Issei's chest. Issei, sure, tell me. Gabriel, I can stay with you forever. Issei, of course. Gabriel, not as your sister, but as your partner. Raising her gaze to look Issei in the eyes, he was a little surprised to know that, and just gave her a smile and hugged her. Issei, of course I will make you very happy. Gabriel, I thought you would refuse since we are brothers. Issei, the truth is we are not. We only share the same power and aura, but we are not brothers. Gabriel just hugged Issei since she was happy and had been accepted. After the hug she approached Issei and gave him a big kiss. After the kiss, Gabriel was blushing but happy. She laid down on Issei's chest and fell asleep happily. The next day I was cooking with a big smile while singing a little. Violet, Mom, you look very happy. Gabriel, because I am daughter. It's a beautiful day and I have a beautiful daughter and my beloved. She said the last thing a little blushing. Gabriel, go wake up your dad. 11. Issei was at the train station with his daughter and now partner. They all got on the train heading to the underworld. Katsu, this is going to be exciting. Issei, I can tell, I thought you would have come before. Katsu, that's right, but it was when I stopped Bucho's wedding. Issei, you like her, don't you? Katsu, yes. I also just noticed your daughter. Nice to meet you, my name is Katsu Hayadu. Violet, hi, I'm Violet, nice to meet you. You're a friend of Dad's. Issei, yes, he is a friend like the others. Violet, great. Issei just gave him a smile. After a few minutes of talking, Issei got up from his seat and walked for a while until he found Azazel. Issei, how are you? Azazel, fine, but I still can't figure out what you gave me that time. Issei, I made it easy for you. I'm surprised you took so long. Azazel, I'm almost there, so I can keep him entertained while the boys train. Issei, you're going to train them. You'll do well, I can tell. Azazel, can you help me? Issei, I'll tell you the truth, I want to spend time with my family. Azazel, I understand. Issei, But if something bad happens, call me. Azazel, now that I remember you can bring your family here, I have a test for the young ones. Issei just nodded and left the place. After a few minutes he arrived and noticed that Rias and Sona were there and both noticed the girl. Issei, she is my daughter Violet. She just gave them a bow and then a small smile. Azazel, nice to meet you. Gabriel, he is a bad person, take care of him, daughter. Violet just nodded at her. But 3 people were in shock when they heard her tell them that she was her daughter. Issei explained things a bit. Rias, I see, still nice to meet you, my name is Rias Gremory. Sona, I'm Sona Citri, nice to meet you too. Violet, nice to meet you both, Wani-sama. They both smiled at what he said. After a few minutes all the young people were teleported away, while the others watched the fight. Issei, who is he? Azazel, Tannen is a former dragon king, now he is a supreme class demon. I asked him for a favor. Issei, I see. He has great power, I can tell. Violet, Dad, help them, they're hurt. Issei, don't worry, they'll be fine, it's just a test to make them stronger. After a few minutes the fight stopped, and they went down to see how the others were doing. Issei used a spell to make everyone act as if nothing had happened. After that everyone headed to the mansion while Violet looked out the window at the place. Issei, there isn't much change, it seems like a city like that of humans. Rias, I thought it would be an ugly place, it isn't. Issei, a little maybe. And you, Gabriel, had come before. Gabriel, only once, but it was during the war. Issei, I see. They talked for a while and arrived at their destination after getting out of the car. There were many maids waiting for them, and in the front was Grafia and Rias and Surzeka's parents. Surzek, nice to see you again, Issei-sama. Issei, just tell me, Issei, I don't like formalities, same to you, a pleasure. Venelana, nice to meet you. Zeoticus, I hope you enjoy being here. Issei, thank you. Everyone entered the house and went to the living room, while Milikas showed Violet around the house. Venelana, and what do you plan to do so we can help you with something? Issei, just to get to know the place. The truth is that I like exploring new places, I've been doing it almost my whole life. Zeoticus, if you want a guide I can get you one. Issei, don't worry, besides, it's better to know for yourself. But I do need a favor. Zeoticus, yes, tell me. Issei, can you tell me where Lucifer's house is? Venelana, that place hasn't been visited in years. Issei, it's my brother's house and well I want to know how he lived. Surzek, it's not far from here. I can take you there whenever you want. Issei, you're not busy. Surzek, I need some rest and no one can enter that house. Rizvin tried to enter once but couldn't. Issei, that must be Lucifer's son. Surzek, yes, and he is the person who is about to create another war. Issei, I see, and well of course we can go right now. What do you say, Gabriel, do you come or stay? Gabriel, I'll stay and take care of Violet. Issei just nodded and got up from his seat, as did Surzek, and they both left the house. They walked to get to know the place. Issei, I know it's rude of me to say this, but I heard you had a partner but I didn't see her. Surzek, I can't lie to you. My wife has been in a coma for a long time and hasn't woken up. Issei, I see, when I get back I can help a little. Surzek, I would be very grateful. Issei, don't worry, I can tell that you love her very much. Surzek, she helped me a lot in the past, especially during the war. Issei, those weren't bad times. Surzek, yes they were. And I really don't want those days of tragedy to happen again. Issei, only time will tell. They walked for a few more minutes until they reached their destination, and Issei could notice the large barrier that was there. Without much difficulty I deactivated and entered the mansion. When I did so I was a little surprised by the things I saw, since it was a normal house. Surzek was the same way. They both stopped and saw a painting where he was with his wife. Issei, who is she? Surzek, She is Lilith. Even if you don't believe it, she wasn't as bad as they said. She was just acting. Issei, I see. What must have happened for you to come to this place? I know what you told father wasn't true. Surzek, he had a reason to fall. Issei, if I had liked to see all of them believe, maybe things would have been different. They walked a little further until they reached his office and searched a bit until Issei noticed something strange and looked and saw something like a diary and began to read it. He read it and was a little surprised as he read that his brother had been looking for him to tell him how strong he had become over time. After that they explored a little more until it got dark and they left the house heading to the Gremory mansion. 12. Returning to the Gremory mansion, Surzek guided Issei to where he had his wife. Issei, how long has he been like this? Surzek, after the birth of Milikas. Issei, I see. Issei approached the woman and placed his hand on her head and closed his eyes. After a minute he opened them again. Issei, someone cast a spell on him. I don't really know its origin, but it was something very powerful and hard to find. Do you have any idea who it could be? Since you're a Mao, you must have several enemies. Surzek, if you're right, I have several enemies, but I don't know the truth. But I'm going to make this up. Issei, she has sleep-type magic. It's a rare magic, so you won't have a hard time finding it. Plus, she'll wake up soon. So you should have some food and water since she's weak. Make sure it's something easy to eat. Surzek, I understand and thanks for the help. Bowing. Issei just nodded and left the room. Surzek then called a servant to prepare something for him. Issei walked through the halls until he came across his family. Violet, upon seeing her father, quickly went to him and gave him a hug. Violet, Dad, we've been looking for you. Issei, and that's it. Violet, it's just that we wanted to go to the city together. Gabriel, she wanted to go exploring with you. Issei, you're like me, quite an adventurer, ha ha ha. Violet, when I grow up I'll be like Dad. Issei, thank you. Then let's go. Going to the exit with her daughter in her hands and Gabriel at her side. As they left, a car took them to the city. And they began to walk through it. Several men looked at Gabriel and were left with their mouths open when they saw Gabriel because she was very pretty. In the case of women it was the same as seeing Issei, but seeing her with her daughter made him cuter. Issei for his part did not give much importance to that since he was focused on seeing the places. Issei, what do you think? Violet, he's very cute. And you can see that he's calm, right? Mom. Gabriel, that's right, daughter. They walked through several places and also entered several places where they had many things to see. When night came they decided to return to the mansion. The maid led them to the dining room, where a few minutes later the others arrived, except for the young men who were training. Surzek, Issei, let me introduce you, she is my wife Clara. Clara, nice to meet you and thanks for the help. Issei, don't worry. I did it for a friend. From what I see, there won't be many of us this time. Xiaticus, the boys will be training most of the holidays. Issei, I see, I hope everything goes well for you. Surzek, tell me Issei, are you going to the meeting? Issei, what meeting? Gabriel, I forgot to tell you. Michael Onisama told me that there will be a meeting with the Nordic faction and asked me if you wanted to go. Issei, I understand. Well, if it's like that then I'll go. Surzek, it will also be a meeting of the young demons as they will give their ideas for the future. Issei, that sounds good. Gabriel, daughter, if you are sleepy, tell me. Violet, I'm fine, Mom. When I'm done eating, take me to my room. Gabriel just nodded. Venilana, what a cute little girl. She reminds me of Rias when she was just a little girl. Xiaticus, those were good times. Even more so when Surzek was a child, he was never separated from his mother because he was afraid that she would abandon him. Surzek, father, please don't tell that. Venilana, don't be ashamed, that was nice. Clara, it's good to know about his childhood since he never talked to me about it. Whenever I asked someone, Surzek did everything he could to get them away. Issei, ha 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 ha. Sorry. Violet, I can find out more if. Venelana, of course. Both parents began to tell stories about Surzek that he felt more ashamed when he heard that. Both Clara and Issei laughed nonstop. Gabriel hid it better than the two of them. After finishing dinner, Gabriel took his daughter to rest and the others went to the living room to chat. A few days had passed and Issei and his family had gone to various places. Some newly reincarnated devils tried to take Gabriel away but were stopped by Issei. He then handed them over to the officials. Issei, are you ready? Today is the day. Gabriel, yes. I already said goodbye to Violet, she must be asleep right now. Issei, I see. Then we'll be leaving. Extending his hand and Gabriel taking it. They both went down to the first floor where Surzek and his wife were waiting for them. And the young people. Issei, then we're leaving. Katsu, I'm ready. Rias, please don't cause a mess. Kaneko, I doubt it. Katsu, how little trust you have in me, Kaneko-chan. Issei, how did your training go, Katsu? Katsu, it was torture. Both Tannen and Drake chased me while throwing fireballs at me. Those were difficult days, I could barely sleep. Issei, you had a bad time but it paid off. Drake, a little bit. He didn't do it anymore but he still let it improve. Surzek, okay. We have to go. The others must be waiting for us. The rest nodded and all left the mansion. And going to their destination since Tannen had promised to take them. Upon arriving at the place, Issei was surprised by so many luxuries that there were. Surzek, some demons like to exaggerate. Gabriel, I would say many. Issei, well, while you guys are doing your thing. What are we going to do, Gabriel? Surzek, Issei, if you wish, you can come with me to listen to the young people's dream. Gabriel, go Issei. I'll go to the living room, Michael Onisama will have arrived. Issei, I see. Well then, let's go. Giving Gabriel a kiss on the forehead and leaving with Surzek. While she went with Clara to the meeting room. When Issei and Surzek arrived, there weren't many people yet. Serafal, Surzek-chan and also Issei-chan. Issei, hello again Serafal, how are you? Serafal, boring, I don't really like these things. Issei, you have a lot of energy, I can tell that. Serafal, if you're here too. It means you listen to the dreams of young people. Issei, that's right. I'm curious to know that. Serafal, me too, plus Sona's. Issei, she's your sister, isn't she? Serafal, that's right. I also heard from her that you have a very pretty daughter. Issei, when there is time I will introduce her to you. Serafal just nodded with a smile. They talked for a while longer until the others started to arrive. And everyone went to take a seat to begin. 13. Everyone was now gathered to listen to the young demon's dreams. Time passed and more young people came to where the council members gave their opinion. Issei, they like to humiliate young people, don't they? He said it quietly to Serafal. Serafal, that's how they are. Issei just nodded and continued listening. Serorg, my dream is to become a Mao. Counselor 1, it's a big goal knowing that no one in your family has gotten that far. Still, good luck with that. Serorg just bowed and left the place. Then it was Rias's turn. Rias, my goal is to be the queen of the raiding game. Issei, what is that? Serafal, this is where the entourages compete in tournaments to see who is the strongest. Once the young demon defeats the rest, he has the right to fight against stronger entourages such as the clan patriarchs. Issei, I see, and tell me you have your group. Serafal, he's not interested in that stuff, so I have no one. Issei, I see. At the end of the next and last one was Sona. Sona, my goal for the future is to create my own school where class doesn't matter so everyone can go without being discriminated against. Advisor 2, there is already an academy. Sona, But it's only for the upper class, and what about those with lower incomes? They also have the right to go. Even reincarnated demons can learn like that too. Counselor 4, don't talk nonsense. Everything is fine as it is now. Don't think about nonsense. Sona just lowered her head and clenched her fists. Issei noticed the annoyance of Serafal and a boy in the distance. He noticed how she was about to throw herself at the council members. At that he stood up and Serafal saw him. Issei, that is young Citri's dream. You can't judge someone's goals, it's not fair. Counselor 1, don't get involved in this discussion. What's an angel doing here? Lairs. At that, for Lairs entered. Those of the council did not know Issei's rank. Surzek was going to say something, but Issei continued. Issei, Lucifer wouldn't have liked to see this treatment. I knew him for a while and I know he was rebellious, but he also supported the ambitions of others. Advisor 5, don't talk nonsense, you know nothing about him. Don't want to tarnish the name of our former leader. Issei, I'm just telling the truth. Also, why do you act like leaders when the 4 of them are? Pointing to the mouths. Counselor 6, they only take care of the war, and we take care of the political. Issei, that's not how it is. You are advisors, your duty is to support the goals of others, not destroy them. Counselor 1, you've had enough of me. Lairs, take him away. Surzek, that can't be possible. Advisor 2, what are you talking about, Surzek-sama? Do you not know what he is saying? Surzek, he is right in what he says. We gave you a lot of power when we defeated the ancient Satans since we were busy. Counselor 1, now you're going to reveal yourself. Just like that angel. Surzek, he is not just any angel. He is the first son of God. In short, he is Lucifer's older brother, and he knows more about him than we do. The counselors were surprised to hear this, as were the young people present. Counselor 5, don't talk such nonsense. What does that matter? We are in the underworld and we are the ones in charge here. Issei, you don't want good for this place. What you want is to return to the times of war. Counselor 6, what nonsense are you talking about? We only want the best for this place. Issei, you can say that and think it, but you can't deceive your heart, and I know that you are with Lucifer's son. You are a traitor just like the rest. Nobody knew what to say since they were being accused of being traitors. Advisor 1, what nonsense you speak. Surzek-sama might still listen to such nonsense. Issei, I don't talk nonsense, I just tell the truth. I gain nothing by lying. Serafal, I trust him. And if you don't tell lies, you don't have to worry. You'll be questioned. Lairs, take them away. They were still standing there as they didn't know what to do. Serafal was still upset, so she unleashed her murderous aura, which scared the Lairs and quickly took the council members away. Falbium, I'll take care of interrogating them. You two go about your business. Surzek just nodded and then Falbium left with the Lairs. Ajuka made everyone leave as everything changed out of nowhere. Serafal, thank you for helping us. Otherwise I would have attacked. Issei, I did it because I noticed you were upset, just like that young man who is in your sister's group. Serafal, still, thanks, you're the best. Surzek, well, since everything is over we have to go to the meeting, we still have that left. Serafal, let's go. Taking Issei's hand and leading him to the meeting room. Issei just smiled as he noticed her enthusiasm and her quick change of mood. After a few minutes they arrived at the living room where Serafal slammed the door open, drawing everyone's attention. Gabriel, seeing how Serafal held Issei's hand in hers, approached with a slightly serious face. Gabriel, what do you think you're doing? Serafal, I'm just guiding my friend. Get out of the way, Dove. Gabriel, what did you say, dwarf bat? Serafal, maybe you want to fight. You know it won't be easy. Gabriel, whenever you want. Issei, please don't fight, we're in an important place right now. Serafal, hey Dove, stop bothering me. Gabriel, that was for you. They both looked at each other with angry faces and then went their separate ways. Issei didn't know what was happening there, so he went with Michael, who was with Azazel and Surzek. Issei, I have a question. Azazel, which one? Issei, why do those two argue like that? Michael, it's a bit of a long story actually. Azazel, there's also Penemu, the three of them can't stand each other. Issei, I understand. I'll see what happens later. Michael, good luck. And tell me how Violet is. Issei, he likes to go out and explore new places since we arrived. Michael, he got it from you. Because you love doing that. Issei, it's great to see new things. They were talking for a few minutes until Odin arrived with another person. Surzek, it is an honor that you are here, Odin-sama. Odin, it's fine, and it's good to have allies. Many have tried to attack Asgard and I can't stand that. Michael, please have a seat. Odin just nodded and they all went to the table where the three Maus, Azazel and Michael and Issei were. Odin was watching the rest until he noticed Issei and was surprised by his great power. Odin, boy, you are very strong and you have the same aura as that person. Issei, when I was born he gave me more than half of his power, and well over time I have trained to improve. But I still have a long way to go. Odin, you have a good level now. Issei, I appreciate it. With that they started the meeting. Until after a few minutes a wall exploded and a person appeared. 14. Issei, without wasting time, used a barrier to cover everyone present. Issei, who are you? Loki, you have no right to speak to me, inferior creature. Odin, Loki, what are you doing here? Return to Asgard and you will not receive a great punishment. Loki, don't talk nonsense, father. You should be on my side. Odin, don't say that. Loki was about to say something, but Ajuka had already finished his spell and locked Loki in a pocket dimension. Ajuka, that won't last long, just long enough for us to form a plan. Odin, this is all my fault, I'm sorry. Issei, don't worry, Odin-sama. He has already decided on that path, and now he must face the consequences. Odin, you're right, but he is my son. Surzek, then what can we do? Azazel, we would have to send a group, but without drawing too much attention, or else there would be a big scandal. At that, one person spoke. Rias, we can go while you have a plan. Surzek, Rias, you should know that he is a god, it is not a game. Rias, I know, but we have been training for a long time and we want to do it. Surzek, I know how you are and that's okay. Seraphal, she won't go alone. Not like that, Sona. At that, Sona came out with her serious face and nodding and looking at Rias. Michael, Irina will go on my behalf, she will be able to help you. Irina just nodded with a smile. Odin, Rosweiss, my bodyguard, will go with you, she can provide you with information about Loki. Issei, I wish you guys luck. Take care. Everyone nodded and left the room. Seraphal, I hope everything goes well for you. Issei, that's how it will be. Trust them. Gabriel, yes. Well, how about we go back home? I want to see Violet. Issei, it's late. It's time to go. If you'll excuse us, we'll be leaving. He got up from his seat and left with Gabriel. The rest did the same and went to rest. Issei and Gabriel arrived and went to Violet's room and saw her awake. Issei, daughter, what are you doing awake? Violet, Tuchan, I had a nightmare where you didn't come back, I was scared. As she ran towards Issei and gave him a hug which he reciprocated. Issei, that will never happen, daughter. Violet, can you sleep with me please? Issei, okay. Gabriel, that's how it will be, my daughter. Violet just gave them both a smile and the three of them went to Issei's room since it had a bigger bed. Then the three of them lay down, both parents on each side and Violet in the center. Afterwards Issei and Gabriel hugged Violet, which she happily accepted. The next day the group was having breakfast. Venelana, you slept well, Rias. You have a long day today. Violet, what are you going to do? Rias One-chan. Rias, something that isn't very important, but I'll be back soon. Violet, I wish you luck. As do you. The other young people nodded with a smile. Issei left with the other leaders, leaving Gabriel to take care of Violet in case something happened. Later the young people arrived and gave them 3 phoenix tears in case something happens. Issei approached Irina and placed 2 of his fingers on her forehead. Issei, I wish you luck, Irina-san. I hope this helps you. Irina, what did he do to me? Issei, you are now a pure angel and I also gave you more power. You are part of my family. Giving her a smile. Irina was surprised and happy as she considered her part of her family. Without thinking twice, she gave Issei a hug, which he reciprocated. Issei, good luck. She just nodded, and with that everyone was teleported away. Michael, you didn't know you could do that. Issei, only with people with a pure heart, and those I can trust. Michael, I'm happy for her. Surzek, let's go to the room to watch their fight. After a few minutes, all the leaders were in the room watching the hologram, waiting for the fight. Serafal, I hope you are doing well, Sona. Surzek, I say the same about Rias. Issei, trust them, sooner or later they will have to face these challenges. Like when I left my brothers to fight alone. Michael, whenever we fought with you, you beat us very easily. Azazel, ha ha ha, that must have been fun. Issei, I don't know. Ajuka, Loki is out. Everyone paid attention to the fight. At first they had the advantage, but over time Loki began to gain ground as his relatives recovered thanks to him. At the beginning some were close to death and had no choice but to use Phoenix Tears. Michael, they're having a bad time. Odin, the hammer will arrive soon, you have to hold on a little longer. Issei, don't worry, everything will be fine. Azazel, how are you sure of that? Issei, I possess an ability that allows me to see the future. But I can only see 1 minute. Serafal, wow, that's a great skill. Issei, I don't usually use it, only when necessary. Ajuka, that's why you're so relaxed. Issei, but the future can change, so not everything is precise. He continued watching the hologram. After a few minutes they saw how Takumi died because Fenrir bit him. Everyone freaked out and looked at Issei instinctively, and he just shook his head. Later they saw Rias explode with fury and was about to do something, but they saw something come out of Takumi's pocket. Later they noticed how the hammer arrived and they were able to lock up Loki. Issei, they did well. For their first big battle. Serafal, but you knew it would happen. Issei, even knowing that. It still hurts to see it, and even more so twice. I'm glad they're alive. Let's go quickly to help them. The group nodded and Ajuka teleported them all. Upon arriving, Issei gathered the entire group and healed them in an instant. Issei, Irina, you did well. Irina, it's all thanks to you. Issei, don't say that. I can tell that you've trained a lot to get to that level, you deserve it. Surzek, now that it's all over, you can go and rest. You deserve it. Everyone nodded and left the place, leaving only the leaders watching the destruction of the place. Later Issei returned with his daughter and Gabriel, and they went out for a walk as a family. Then the days passed and the group returned to the human world since the holidays had ended, except for Violet, who still had more. Gabriel, I'm going to heaven to sort out some paperwork. Tell me, Violet, are you coming with me? Violet, I want to go with Tuchan to her school. I want to see her. Issei, I'll take care of her. You can go. Gabriel nodded and approached Issei and gave Issei a kiss and Violet one on the forehead, then disappeared. Issei took Violet in his arms and they headed to the academy. As they walked, many women looked at him fondly because they saw that he was just like the students. Some of them greeted him because they were his students. He responded to their greetings with a smile. Arriving at the academy, he went to his classroom and left Violet in her seat. Issei, well, she's my daughter. At that, Violet got up from her seat to introduce herself. Violet. Hello everyone, my name is Violet and I won't cause any trouble, I promise. Giving everyone a big smile. Making everyone smile back. At that, Violet saw someone and went to her. Violet, Irina Wani-chan. Giving her a hug she happily accepted. Irina, Violet-chan, how are you? Violet, okay. But let's talk later, you have classes. Irina just nodded and Violet returned to her seat and took out a notebook to draw. And Issei started his class. 15. After a few minutes of class he stopped and looked at his students. Issei, I know it's late to ask but tell me, did you have a good time on your vacation? Thanks to the fact that he didn't give us any homework, they were the best. You are the best sensei of all. Issei, I'll treat you well but I expect the same from you. I want good grades. We are not going to disappoint you, sensei. Issei just gave them a smile. Violet was proud of her father, as she noticed that all of his students loved him. She continued with her classes until she finished. Then she took her daughter to the patio to eat her lunch. Issei, tell me daughter what you think of school. Violet, you're great too, Chan, everyone loves you. Issei, if you treat people well, you will receive the same treatment. That's why, daughter, treat your companions well. Violet, that's what I'll do too, Chan. Issei, you know, daughter, soon there will be a trip to another city but my students don't know about it yet. I want it to be a surprise. I want you to come with me so you can see how nice it is to travel. Violet, sounds great but what will happen to school? Issei, I'll ask for a leave of absence. I want to spend time with my daughter since one day we won't be able to have these adventures anymore. Violet approached Issei and gave him a hug. Violet, I will always be with you too, Chan, no matter how much time passes. Issei, you say that now but... I didn't finish as Violet put her hand on Issei's mouth. Violet, I always keep my promises. When I grow up I'll protect you. Issei just smiled when he heard that. He then took out the food for both of them, and they started eating. Later Issei continued with his class while Violet continued with her drawings. At the end of the day, they both headed home. Most of the girls said goodbye to Violet, as they thought the girl was very adorable. When they arrived home they went to the kitchen because they heard Gabriel's voice there. Violet wasted no time and went to her, giving her a big hug, which she reciprocated. Gabriel, and how did you spend it? Violet, it was a great day. The people there were very nice. Gabriel, I'm glad. Go change and then come down to dinner. Violet just nodded and went to her room. Issei, how was your day? Gabriel, I had a lot of paperwork to fill out. I wanted to go back so I could be with my family. Issei, I say the same. Gabriel, well, you go change for dinner too. Issei approached her and gave her a kiss on the forehead and left. Later the three of them were happily having dinner. Time passed and the cultural festival arrived. Issei supported his students as much as he could. Issei was in the occult club. Issei, I heard that you're going to have a raiding game soon. I wish you luck. Having a cup of tea. Katsu, we're going to win, you'll see. Issei, I'll keep an eye on your game. Rias, you know how the situation is with the Cows Brigade. Since my brother hasn't wanted to tell me anything. Issei, Rias, I'm not going to lie to you. The truth is that I don't know anything about this. My brother Michael is in charge of that. I will only fight when there is a lot of danger. Katsu, we can fight someday. I want to know how strong you are. Drake, are you crazy? You won't even be able to touch him. I couldn't handle him even though I gave my all. Issei, I think you're exaggerating, Drake-san. Drake, I'm just telling the truth. Besides, I'm just protecting this idiot from doing something stupid. Rias, Katsu, don't bother sensei, okay? Irina, it's true, don't bother him. Katsu, even my childhood friend is against me. Standing in a corner crying anime style. Issei could only laugh at her attitude. Issei, tell me Irina, how is your training going? Irina, I'm doing very well. Grisenda-sama helps me a lot to improve. Issei, I'm glad to hear that. Irina, Issei. She didn't finish because Issei stared at her. The others didn't understand why she didn't continue. Irina felt the gazes of the others and it made her nervous. Zenobia, what's wrong, Irina? Why did you stop? Irina, it's not for nothing. Asia, it's not good to lie, Irina-san. Irina, it's okay. I'm just not used to just calling him Nisan. Issei, I didn't ask you to call me that. I told you to just call me Issei. Irina, Griselda-sama told me to call him that. Just like Violet-chan. Issei, take your time, okay? Irina just nodded. A few minutes later, classes began. At the end, Issei was called to the underworld where he met the other leaders. Serafal, seeing Issei, gave him a big hug. Issei, it hasn't been that long, you know. Serafal, but it's been so long. Issei went to his seat next to Michael. Surzek, we suspect that the Cows Brigade will attack during Rias's raiding game. Issei, what do you have planned? Surzek, we'll let the game start, and when they attack we'll go. Azazel, there are suspicions that many enemies will appear. Issei, I see. I'll keep an eye out in case anything happens. Michael, we must not let the young people get hurt on that day. Issei, none of that will happen. Odin, it's only to be expected. They talked a little more to form a plan until they decided to go home. Serafal wanted Issei to go for a walk with her. But Issei refused since he had to go back home, but he promised to go another day. Time passed and the day of the raiding game arrived. Issei, for his part, was at home watching the game with his family. Until Issei covered Violet's eyes. Issei, take it, I have to go. Gabriel, be careful though. Issei gave his daughter a kiss on the forehead and one to Gabriel, and went to battle. Upon arriving at the place, I noticed several demons and fallen angels fighting against the leaders and their armies. Issei, Azazel, tell me the situation. Azazel, there are more of them than expected. We have to be on the lookout. Issei just nodded and left the place so he could help. I take out a pair of my wings and take flight. I create a bow of sacred energy, and then create several arrows to launch, giving to all his enemies. He was going to continue until he felt a great presence in the distance. Without wasting time, he went to the place. Issei, what are you doing here? Nothing, I just observe. Issei, you are the leader of all this, aren't you? You are strong. More than that, old man. Issei, what do you really want? Silence, just that. Issei, and where do you think you'll find that silence? In the dimensional gap. Issei, I understand. Ophis Ouroboros, I hope you don't cause trouble to my friends and family. If not, I'll have to stop you. Ophis, I'll see. At that, Issei left the place since he didn't notice any bad intentions from her. Issei, while flying, felt a great evil energy. Issei, Katsu, perhaps you let yourself be guided by the hatred that must have happened. Taking flight to the place. 16. A few days had passed since the attack in the raiding game where everyone was attentive, but in the end nothing. Issei for his part prepared with his daughter Violet since they will go on a trip to Kyoto. Gabriel wanted to go with them, but he had work to do, so he just said goodbye to his family, and they left. Where everyone was at the train station, and Issei watched as Rias said goodbye to her group, and minutes later the train got on its way. Violet, Tu-chan, what are we going to do when we get there? Issei, whatever you want, but remember to bring a souvenir to your mom. Violet, sure Tu-chan, since I promised to bring her one. I can go with Irina-chan and her friends. Issei, sure, have fun. She just gave him a smile and left the place in search of Irina. Seconds later someone arrived and sat next to Issei where she gave him a big hug. Issei, how are you doing, Serafal? Serafal, good, and I'm glad you're going on this trip so we can spend time together. Issei, you should know that my daughter is going with me. Serafal, it doesn't matter, the three of us can go out, and I like the girl. Issei, I'm glad to hear that. But if you're coming on this trip, it's not just for fun, right? Seraphol broke away from Issei's embrace and became a little serious. Seraphol, I'm going to see if we can make an alliance with the yokai faction. With the last attack we can see that we'll need a lot of allies. Issei, I see, that sounds good. If you need anything let me know. Seraphol, thank you. Issei-chan, I hope we have a date. Issei, you know Seraphol, your attitude is unique and I like that about you since everyone around you will be happy. Seraphol, then? Issei, sure, let's go on a date. What's up with you tonight? Seraphol, great, I'll be waiting for her. Giving him a kiss on the cheek and leaving the place with a big smile. The journey continued and Issei for his part just looked at the scenery through the window while Violet was playing with Irina and her friends. The girls were happy with the presence of the girl because she was very cute. While Seraphol was looking at brochures of various restaurants in Kyoto. In heaven, Gabriel had his head resting on his desk as he wanted to return home. Griselda, Lady Gabriel, they won't be long. Gabriel, I know the truth is I wanted to go with them but I had a lot of work. Griselda, that's how things are, and you put it off for a long time. Gabriel, it's that I wanted to be with my daughter because she's very pretty. Griselda, I know. Gabriel, I'll finish this quickly and leave with them. With a determined look and starting to fill out papers where Griselda only let out a sigh at her change in attitude. Hours passed and the students arrived at their destination where they took the bus and arrived at a large hotel that belongs to the Gremory family. Issei gave a brief talk where the group then dispersed to begin exploring. He, for his part, went with Violet to her room to leave her things and later they went out to explore where the girl was fascinated with everything she saw. Both of them attracted a lot of attention, especially from women, because they looked so cute together. Violet, Tu-chan, do you think my mom will like this necklace? Issei, maybe, but how about we look somewhere else, there's no rush. Violet, okay. Going somewhere else, the hours passed and they both returned to the hotel and went to dinner where Violet was happy to be with her father. From so much fun she fell asleep where Issei took her in his arms and took her to the room to rest. He took a bath and put on a white suit and called Irina to take care of Violet and left the hotel again. He walked a little until he saw Seraphol. Issei, you look very cute in a kimono. Upon hearing that voice, she turned around and saw Issei in a white suit and a smile at her. Seraphol, thanks, you still look cute. Issei extended his arm where she took it and they walked down the path where people were jealous when they saw them, especially the men when they saw Seraphol's beauty. She guided Issei to a high-class restaurant where she had already reserved a window seat so she could see the view. Issei, it's very beautiful. Seraphol, next time you'll find the place. Issei, sure, I hope you like it. Seraphol, you know, this is the first time I've dated a man. Issei, and that's it. You're very pretty, you have no shortage of suitors. Seraphol, they only see me for my physique and the demons for my title since if they are with me they can boast about being able to have me, that is annoying. Issei, I can imagine since that must be the case with Gabriel and Penemu. Seraphol, yes. Issei, because you three fight whenever you see each other. Seraphol, I honestly don't even remember, that was years ago, when the war was in the middle, and we crossed paths. Issei, they must get along. Fighting doesn't bring anything good. Seraphol, from the first time I saw you, you caught my attention. Issei, and that's it. Seraphol, I saw how strong and kind you are and you didn't brag about your power. I'm very direct with things and well I'll say it, I like you Issei. Issei, Seraphol, I already knew that. Seraphol, it's true I forgot since you can also read people's hearts. Giving Issei a smile but with a tear. Issei approached her and wiped her tears with his own hands. Issei, why are you crying? Seraphol, well that's because you already knew that only means you will reject me. Issei, I wouldn't say that. Seraphol, but you are an angel. Issei took his seat again. Issei, I talked to Gabriel before coming and she knew you liked her and she's fine with it. And that thing about being an angel, I don't know why they think that because I have 2 partners I would fall. Sarah fall, what matters is that there is love and nothing else. And one more thing, I can't fall, and I'll tell you something that nobody knows. Sarah fall, what a thing. Issei, you all think my father was really kind and all, but there were times where he would say some nonsense. Sarah fall, no one is perfect. Sarah fall, that means I can be with you. Issei, of course, I just ask that you both get along and take care of my daughter. Sarah fall just gave him a big smile and got up from her seat and took Issei by the hand, and they left the hotel. Issei just let himself be guided since he liked to see her smile. After running a bit, they arrived at a place without people, and Sarah fall took out her wings just like Issei, and they took flight. Sarah fall, I am the happiest person in the world. Issei, I'm glad to hear that. Sarah fall, I will never leave your side. Issei, but you have a position in the underworld and you can't leave it. Sarah fall, I know, but this time I will do my job faster. Issei, that means you were running away from your job. Upon hearing that, she just gave Issei a smile and flew away, where Issei followed her. He could catch up with her quickly, but he wanted to see her smile of victory. 17. It was a new day where Issei was having breakfast with Violet, where she noticed how Sarah fall had a big smile. Violet, Tuchan, something happens to her, she looks very happy. Issei asked him. Violet just looked at her, and Sarah fall gave her a big smile. Sarah fall, yesterday I had a great time with your father, and well, thanks to some words I heard from him, I am very happy. Violet, I see, I'm glad to hear that. Issei, daughter, you can go with the others, I have something to talk to her about. The girl just nodded and left the place. Issei, I've seen a lot of movement from some yokais, something bad is happening. Sarah fall, yesterday at the end of our date, and when I was about to sleep, a guard arrived and took me to the castle where Princess Kanu received me and informed me that her mother was kidnapped. Issei, they know who it was. Sarah fall, not yet, but she looked very worried and asked me for help. Issei, what will you do? Sarah fall, I will. I have a good friendship with Yasaka for a long time, and if I can do something I will. Issei, I'm glad to hear that. I'll help you, don't worry. Sarah fall, great, I'll tell the others. Issei, you better not do it. Let them have fun while we resolve this matter. Sarah fall, okay. Issei, they are still young and it is better that they have fun since very bloody battles await them soon. Sarah fall, I know. So you have a plan? Issei, right now we have to have some fun with Violet, and then we'll search. Sarah fall just smiled at her, and a few minutes later the 3 of them went out, and started walking where Violet was laughing alongside Sarah fall. Issei was happy about how they both got along while they both had fun. Issei at the same time looked for a trace but nothing. The hours passed until night came, where Issei put the little girl to sleep. Violet, Tuchan, I had fun with Sarah fall. We can go out with her again. Issei, sure. Tell me you like the idea of her living with us. Violet, that would be great, but Mom will be fine with that. Issei, yes, she already knows. Violet, then it's okay, so I have more fun with her. Issei just caressed her hair where he helped her sleep while he told her a story. When she fell asleep, Issei put a barrier on her and left the hotel where Sarah fall was waiting for him, and they both went on their way while they searched. Issei, she liked the idea and said it would be fun. Sarah fall, great, then when I get back I'll take my stuff. Issei, of course. Taking her hand, he squeezed it as he liked it. They both continued on their way until Issei stopped his pace. Sarah fall, something's wrong. Issei, I know where it is. Taking Sarah fall in his arms and taking out his wings and taking flight, where minutes later he arrived at his destination, where a group was a little surprised since they did not sense his arrival. Issei saw one who possessed a spear a little seriously, where at the same time he saw a blonde-haired girl with her eyes closed. Issei, what you guys are doing is wrong. Chow chow, and who are you? Issei, someone who doesn't want trouble. Besides, you have weapons that were created to help people, not kill them. Chow chow, don't you know who we are? You better leave or you'll know the consequences since we are the hero faction. Issei, when someone calls themselves a hero it just means they're not one. Chow chow, I don't know who you are, but I do know her and she's the Mao Leviathan. It will be interesting to see what will happen to the underworld if it loses one of its leaders. Giving a smile while the rest of the group laughed. Issei for his part just remained calm. Issei, you all possess sacred gear and high level. Chow chow, you are not as stupid as you seem and now that you know it, you will do more when you know about my weapon. Issei, my father created those weapons to fight evil, not to make a girl suffer for her mother. George, only then will we prove that humans can defeat any supernatural being. Siegfried, I'm bored, how about we kill him? Where several robotic arms with swords came out of his back. Seraphal, Issei-chan, you have a plan. Issei, yes and don't worry, no one will fight today. Seraphal just nodded as she trusted Issei where the first to launch the attack was Siegfried where when he was about to attack Issei his robotic hands stopped him leaving the heroes surprised as well as Seraphal. Issei, people like you don't deserve such power. Approaching Siegfried and touching a robotic arm where it instantly disappeared where the swords fell to the ground. Jean, what did you do to him? Issei, he doesn't deserve to have power in his hands like you. Everyone instantly took an attack position where Leonardo created several monsters where Issei moved at great speed and touched the little boy's forehead, where he instantly fell to the ground unconscious. Jean took out a sacred sword and when she was about to hurt Issei he stopped her with his hand. Jean, how is it possible you are a demon because it doesn't hurt you? Issei just spread his golden wings leaving all the heroes in the shadows. Where Issei took advantage and made Jean's weapon disappear as well as the rest of the heroes where everyone was fainted to the excess of Chow Chow who was surprised. Chow Chow, how did you do that? I had never heard that an angel could do that. Issei, and they can't, but I can, even though I don't have all my power yet, at least I can do that. Where near Issei appeared the sacred gear of Chow Chow's companions. Issei, I told you recently that my father created this so that you humans could defend yourselves from danger, but many of you use it for evil. Like Vala Lucifer where he possessed a celestial dragon and was one of my younger brother's descendants. I had no choice but to make him only human. Chow Chow, you don't know how humans suffer because of the supernatural. He said this while gripping the spear. Issei, tell me Chow Chow what would happen if there were no supernatural beings in the human world. Chow Chow, isn't it obvious it would be better? Issei, the opposite would be worse and that's because humans would kill each other. When they want something they do everything possible to have it, and I mean they would kill everything in their path to have it. Chow Chow, yes but. Issei, humans have caused many senseless wars over time, and I witnessed some of them. Even without supernatural beings, there would always be death, as it is a part of life. Chow Chow, what do you think of humans? Issei, they are people who do everything possible to get ahead, where some, despite making mistakes, continue forward while others give up and look for the easiest way. Chow Chow didn't know what to say while the other members had already woken up and didn't know what to say because of those words. Issei, you are all descendants of great people who fought for good and not evil. Raising his hand to the sky where the sacred gear returned to their owners where they were surprised by that. Issei, I'll give you a second chance, I hope you take advantage of it. Where Seraphal at that time had Yasaka in her hands and Issei was about to leave until he noticed how instantly all the heroes fell to their knees. Chow Chow, please guide us to a better future. I know that by being with you we will achieve it. Let us work for you. Seraphal was in shock hearing that while Issei just had his eyes closed as he thought about what to do. Cap. 18. Issei approached the group where everyone was still with their heads down until Chow Chow saw a hand belonging to Issei where when he looked up he noticed a small smile on Issei. Chow Chow took it and stood up as did the rest of the group. Issei, I don't want you to serve me. I want you to be my companions or rather my friends. Chow Chow, but. Issei, you're giving me your trust and I'm giving you mine. Besides, I don't want servants. Chow Chow smiled upon hearing that, and just nodded. Issei, good since everything is resolved. Returning to Seraphol, who had Yasaka in her arms, where Issei noticed her surprise on her face, where Issei just gave her a smile. Issei put his hand on Yasaka's forehead, where seconds later the yokai leader opened her eyes. Yasaka, where I am. Issei, everything is fine now, don't worry. Yasaka saw her friend who only gave her a smile. Issei extended his hand where he helped her up, as well as Seraphol. Yasaka, seeing the group of heroes, became serious, where Issei noticed that. Issei, don't worry Yasaka-sama, they won't do anything bad. Yasaka, they kidnapped me. Issei, I'm aware of that, but they regret it. Seeing the group, where they took a few steps forward and instantly bowed, leaving Yasaka in shock apparently. Chow Chow, we're sorry. At the beginning we had a purpose in doing this, but when talking to Issei-sama he made us change our minds. Issei, leave that sama thing, I don't like formalities. Yasaka, this is all very confusing, really. Seraphol, believe me, I'm the same way. But it doesn't matter, Issei-chan is amazing. Going towards him and giving him a hug that he reciprocated and caressed his head. Issei, you should go back home, your daughter is very worried about you. Yasaka, come with me. Issei, Seraphol, thank you, but it will be another time since my daughter is alone in the hotel. Yasaka, wait, how is that daughter thing, since when, how? Seraphol, I'll tell you another time, he. Yasaka just smiled at him, and after bowing she left the place, leaving the group. Issei, Seraphol, you can go to the hotel and take care of our daughter. Seraphol, upon hearing the last, just formed a big smile and nodded. Issei, I will go to heaven to talk to the others and help the group of heroes. Seraphol, don't be long. Giving him a kiss on the cheek and leaving the place. George, what will we do in heaven? Issei, I can tell that you still don't master your sacred gear at 100%, and well, there's a place to train. Creating a magic circle that enveloped the entire team, where they instantly appeared at the gates of heaven. The Lairs, seeing them, were about to attack, but when they saw Issei they quickly got on their knees. Issei just shook his head and entered with the group, where they attracted a lot of attention. The group just looked around as everything was new until a gray-haired girl in black stood in front of Issei with a smile. Issei, and who are you? I've been wanting to meet him for a long time and I didn't want to miss the opportunity. My name is Lint Selzen. Giving Issei a big smile. Lint saw the group and quickly identified one. Lint, well, it's Siegfried. Issei, you know him. Lint, let's say we're related. Siegfried, wow, you turned out to be an angel in the end. She just smiled at him and took out a pair of silver wings, surprising the group and Issei a little. Issei, wow, it's unusual to see an angel with silver wings. Lint, we would both make a good team. Issei, why? Lint, gold and silver make a good combination. But I'd like to see her wings, because I've been wanting to see them for a while now. Issei just laughed a little at her enthusiasm and nodded, where he took out a pair of his golden wings, leaving the group of heroes and Aline with stars in her eyes in shock. Lint, they are beautiful. Issei, thank you. Lint, where are they going? Issei, to the twin room. Lint, oh, I see. Don't tell me you're going to let them train there. Issei, I trust them since they are my friends. Lint, I understand, and if so I can go with you. Issei was about to answer until someone suddenly hugged him. Gabriel, Issei, what are you doing here? Issei, I come to train my friends. Gabriel separated from the group and saw the group. Lint, Lady Gabriel, nice to see you. Gabriel, how have you been, Lint? I haven't seen you in a while. Lint, you already know a lot of work to do, he. Issei, let's continue the talk on the way, yeah? Gabriel just nodded, and as a group they continued on their way, where Gabriel was surprised to learn that they were the group of heroes. After a few minutes of walking they arrived at their destination. Issei, inside that room time is slower, so it helps them improve their skills. Lint, and I will help you train, and don't worry, I will be nice to you. Jean, When someone says those words, it just means that it's the complete opposite. Lint, and you are absolutely right, ha 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 ha. Heracles, I'm surprised you haven't fallen yet. Lint, it's all because of Issei-sama. Everything is different now. Issei, well, let's not waste any more of your time. I wish you guys luck. Chow chow, when training I can ask you a favor. Issei, if it's in my hands, of course. They just nodded and the group entered the room. Gabriel, how is Violet? Issei, he's with Seraphol right now. Gabriel, tell me how it went with her. Issei just gave her a smile where he began to tell her everything that happened during the trip. After a few hours, Issei returned to the human world to be with his daughter and partner. The next day, Issei and company were called to the palace. Yasaka, thank you very much for your help. I don't know how to repay you. Issei, your thanks are more than enough. Yasaka, and you, Seraphol. Seraphol, I didn't do anything. Issei-chan did everything. But we can talk about making an alliance. Yasaka, sounds good to me. Seraphol, Issei-chan, let's go talk a little. Issei, okay, we'll go for a walk. Taking his daughter's hand and leaving the palace. Cap. 19. Sometime later the students returned to their city, as did Issei and company. Gabriel, how was your trip, daughter? Violet, it's a beautiful place, Mom. I hope to return someday. Gabriel, when you want to go, tell me so I can make time in my schedule. Violet, great. Giving him a hug which he happily reciprocated. Issei, okay, daughter, go wash your hands for dinner. Violet, okay, Dad. Leaving the room. Issei, Gabriel, I'll go find my brother. Gabriel, but he's not the same as before. I don't think he'll recognize you. Plus, he's being watched by the god Hades. Issei, he has no right to have it there. Gabriel, someone will go with you, right? Issei, Chow Chow will go with me. The others will continue with their training. Gabriel, be careful since we do not have a good relationship with Olympus. Issei, I know. Gabriel gave him a hug for good luck, and when they parted he gave him a box. Issei, there they are. Gabriel, yes. I hope they help you. Issei opened the box and took out a card from his new deck. Issei, I didn't intend to have a deck but they insisted. Gabriel, I know, ha ha ha, until you accept it. Issei, well, I'm gone. Giving her a kiss on the forehead and then going to her daughter and saying goodbye to her. As he left the house he walked a little until he met his partner. Issei, are you ready? Chow chow, as always. And now you have them. Issei, yes. At that moment Chow Chow got on one knee ready. Issei just let out a sigh and took out the deck, and instantly without him taking it the Joker went towards Chow Chow. Issei, it's much better. And how do you feel? Chow Chow, a little strange but I can adapt. Issei, good. Starting to walk alongside Chow Chow. A few days later they arrived at their destination, as Issei decided to go by plane and explore on his way, as he liked to see new things. What are you doing here? Issei, I came to talk to Zeus-sama. He doesn't have time for you, so go away or things will go badly for you. Point the spear at them. Chow Chow seeing that was going to summon his weapon, but Issei stopped him. Issei, I don't want any trouble, I just want to discuss something of utmost importance. Are you deaf? What could you expect from an inferior race? Chow Chow, hey, you're going too far. If you keep talking like that, things won't go very well for you. Yes, as you say. Issei, look, I want to do things the good way, but you guys won't cooperate. You have my brother detained, and if you don't give him to me, this could end badly. What nonsense are you talking about? Issei frowned but didn't say anything else as more people arrived. What do you want? Issei, I'm here for my brother. Who are you talking about? Issei, from Samo. The group was surprised when they heard such a name because they obviously knew who it was. Issei, they have no right to have him here. You are wrong about that since it belongs to Hades-sama. Issei, let me see it. At that moment a bolt of lightning struck Issei, neither moving nor surprising him. Zeus, I have been informed that we have visitors from an angel. Issei, nice to see you again, Zeus-sama. Zeus, I know you. Issei, he only saw me once and I was like 8 years old. Zeus, wow, you have a good memory, boy. Issei, something's happened. Zeus, what do you want? Issei, I want to take my brother. Zeus, don't you know what happened to him? Issei, I was informed not long ago. Zeus, do what you want, you have my permission since I liked your father. Issei, thank you. Zeus, guard, take him to the underworld and tell Hades what to do. The soldier just nodded, and with that Zeus left, and Issei and company set off. After a short journey they arrived at the territory of Hades. Chow chow, what a place. Looking around and noticing how ugly it was. Seconds later they both stood in front of the god of the underworld. Issei, thank you for receiving us. Hades, they already told me what you want and I refuse. Issei, I'm sorry but this is not up for discussion. Hades, he belongs to me, and you're just a mere angel. Be happy to be in front of me. Issei, my family has been separated for a long time, and it's time for it to reunite except for one person. Hades, I gave you the option to leave on your own, but I see I'll have to put another angel on my shelf. Issei, Chow Chow, you can hold them off for a while. Chow Chow, of course. Invoking the true Longinus that surprised the god of the underworld along with his guards. Chow Chow, it's time to see how much I've advanced. Issei, thank you. Leaving the place in search of Samuel, while behind him many explosions were heard. Minutes later, through Samuel's aura, he managed to find him, where he did not know what to say, since he saw him crucified and with bandages on his eyes while blood was coming out of him. In addition, his legs were now like those of a snake. Issei slowly approached, stunned by what he was seeing. Issei, it's my fault you came to this, brother. Putting his hand on Samuel's cheek where he received no response. Issei put his forehead with Samuel's to enter his mental space, and while he searched for it he saw what happened to him and the rest of his brothers. Until he came to a white space and saw a small gray-haired boy sitting there. Issei, Samuel. The boy, upon hearing his name, turned around with tears in his eyes. Samuel, brother, it's really you. Issei, yes, and sorry for the delay. The boy stood up and went to give Issei a hug, who reciprocated. Issei, I know everything you went through just like the rest, and I'm sorry. Samuel, those dragons killed many of our brothers, we have to finish them off. Issei, times are no longer the same. Samuel, what happened to you? Issei, I'll tell you later, okay? Come back with me first, our brothers are waiting for us, and my daughter wants to meet you. Samuel, daughter. Issei, yes, and she's a very cheerful girl just like you. You two will get along very well. Samuel, now I'm a monster. Issei, don't worry about it. Extending his hand, Samuel took it without hesitating for a second, since he trusted his brother. They both began to walk, and when Samuel opened his eyes again he saw Issei a little more adult since he previously saw him younger. Samuel looked down and noticed that he was like before. Issei, let's go home, okay? Samuel, yes, brother. Giving him one of her big smiles that made Issei happy, since that's how he remembered it. They both took flight until they reached Chow Chow, who was a little tired from the battle. Hades, seeing Samuel in his old state, was surprised since he did not expect that he would succeed. Issei, good job, Chow Chow, it's time to go. He put away his spear and stood next to Issei, where instantly a pillar of light teleported the three of them out of the underworld, and once outside they headed home, while Issei told his story that surprised Chow Chow and Samuel. Chapter 20. Issei, upon arriving in heaven with his brother and Chow Chow, the first thing Samuel saw was his brothers, and before he could say anything, they all went to him to hug him through tears. Because after so much time they could finally be together again. Issei, look brother, she's my daughter Violet. The aforementioned took a few steps forward, a little nervous. Violet, nice to meet you, uncle. Samuel, I say the same, little one. Gabriel, we've missed you, brother, all this time. Samuel, I hope you forgive me for everything I did in the past. Michael, they were hard times, don't worry, you endured more than everyone. Uriel, we're having a little party for you to come back, so let's go. Samuel just nodded with a smile to follow his brothers while Issei decided to go for a walk. While he was doing so, he saw two people shouting at him in the distance. Issei, what's going on here? They both looked in the direction of the voice to see the silver-haired man. They both quickly stood up correctly. Lint, this one just doesn't learn. Siegfried, like this one. Lint, as dumb as ever. Issei, guys, it's not good to fight, okay? Lint, fine, but I heard you were in Olympus as soon as you got back. Issei, just recently. Siegfried, and what are we going to do now? The truth is that I'm ready to fight. Issei, I see if that's so. Taking out a piece of paper that he gave to Siegfried, he was a little surprised when he read it but quickly nodded with a smile and then left. Lint, what did he get? Issei, the location of an enemy's base. I know he can do it with one of his companions. Lint, I see. Tell me what your father was like. Issei, he was a kind person who cared about everyone. But he also liked to make some jokes. Lint, but they say he was calm. Issei, nobody is perfect, Lint. There will always be a moment where one wants to relax. Lint, I see. Issei, Lint, you want to go on a mission with me? Lint, seriously, but you just arrived. Issei, it's okay, besides I'm not one of those people who likes to stay quiet in one place. Lint, where will we go? Issei, to India. I want to talk to the gods there to see if we can make an alliance. Lint, sounds great, I'm ready. Issei just created a magic circle to teleport to the human world. Lint, I thought we'd be there by now. Issei, I like quiet trips. Lint, it will be a long trip if we take a plane. Issei, we have plenty of time. Lint, it's true. Heading to the airport, after a long trip they arrived at their destination where they went to buy some clothes and set off in search of the gods. It didn't take them long to reach their destination where they were greeted. Lint, wow, that's fast. Issei just gave him a smile. Some time later the leader of the faction arrived, being Shiva. The man entered somewhat seriously, scaring Lint even more when she saw that he stood in front of Issei. Before she could say anything, the god changed his expression to a happier one. Shiva, long time no see, old friend. Issei, I say the same as you are. Shiva, there we go. What have you been doing all these years? Issei, I was asleep. Shiva, so many years. Issei, consequences of a battle, but oh well, how are you? Shiva, here we go. And who is the lady? Issei, her name is Lint, and she is accompanying me on this visit. Shiva, nice to meet you, miss. Hey Issei, I'm sorry about Elohim. Issei, don't worry. But well, I came for something else. Shiva, tell me. Issei, I don't know if you know, but the three factions have made an alliance, plus the Nordic and yokai are also there. I wanted to know if you want to join. Shiva, if this is happening it must be for a reason, right? Issei, that's right, and I imagine you must know. Shiva, there have been some problems but nothing catastrophic. Who they are, you don't know. Issei, an organization called the Cows Brigade. There are many races involved, including gods of great power. Shiva, I can imagine. Issei, Shiva, I need your help, just like the others. Right now I don't have the power to stop everything that's coming. Shiva, what happened to you? Issei, Lint, whatever you hear now don't tell anyone, okay? Lint, don't worry. Issei, before coming to the human world, my father took away half of my power. Shiva, because? Issei, I don't know. I just saw how he opened a dimensional rift to send him somewhere else. Shiva, you want me to take care of everything while you go find him? Issei, that's right, many things are about to change and I can only trust you. Shiva, what a burden you're putting on me. Issei, it's not an obligation, it's just a favor. Shiva, I will do it, don't worry, I will talk to the rest about that alliance. Issei, thank you. Shiva, and when do you plan to leave? Issei, whenever you are ready, for the moment there is no rush. Shiva, good. Standing up. Shiva, I will talk to everyone these days, so for now enjoy my culture. Issei, I will. Watching his friend leave the room. Lint, but you are very powerful, how is it that you are missing half of your power? Issei, when my father brought me to life, he put more of his power into me, and as time passed that power increased. Father was afraid that I couldn't control everything. Lint, I see, but you know where you have to go. Issei, yes, I didn't go before because I thought there were no conflicts, but with all this that is happening I have to be stronger to protect my family. Lint, sounds good. Issei, you are also part of my Lint family. If one day you need my help, don't hesitate to call me, okay? The aforementioned only gave her a smile as she was happy with the words that had been said to her. During their stay they went out for a walk while buying some souvenirs. In addition to that, Issei tried the food, most of it being a little spicy, causing Lint to laugh.
Let me know in the comments below if you guys want the next part. Also check out my other video that has been shown in left. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like and share this video. And have a fantastic day. Bye.